Stokes up until, well, what a start to his career. 18 wickets at under 10. Here is Patel, bowled him, he's through. Dom Sibley's on his way. Crawley uses his feet once again. He's heaved this one straight down towards mid-off and straight into the hands of Mohammad Siraj.
Yeah, there's positive intent and there's also recklessness, and I think that is the latter.
Mohammad Siraj, finally we start again after a long drinks break. That's horribly close and that's out. Absolutely stone dead LBW. Joe Root trapped back.
Ashwin, down the wicket comes Stokes, and that's how to go downtown. And he's gone all the way for 6 over long off. Here is Mohammad Siraj continuing to Johnny Bairstow. Up goes the finger, he's hit him on the pad.
78 for 4 now here on TalkSport 2 England, in trouble.
Here's Mohammad Siraj to bowl to Ben Stokes, and Stokes is forward. Lovely straight drive. The very best of Ben Stokes.
Here is Washington Sundar. Slog sweep once again from Ben Stokes. No problem with connecting with this one. All the way over wide long on for 6. Reverse sweep, beautifully played, and he's played it beautifully to bring up his half century. That is a fabulous innings, the beginnings of an innings of great importance for Ben Stokes and for England.
Sundar in around the wicket, takes Stokes on the pad. Stokes' head goes down, he knows what's coming next. Nitin Menon's into the game, raising his finger for LBW.
Tea time then here on day 1 of the 4th and final test match between India and England England winning the toss, batting first, are taking tea at 144 for 5. Not as strong a position as they would have wanted when they won the toss, but they do have an extra batsman who's at the crease at the moment. They're playing 7 batsmen. They left out Jofra Archer and included Dan Lawrence, and Lawrence is there at tea on 15 along with Ollie Pope on 21. 144 for 5. Play's about to get underway. Thank you very much indeed to Jared Kimber. Here's Mohammad Siraj. Forward comes Ollie Pope to his first delivery after the tea break. And alongside me for the next half an hour is Darren Gough.
He's a bundle of energy in him, Mohammad Siraj. Really impressed with him so far in this series. It's just his second game. But I say a ball of energy. Runs in, gives his captain absolutely everything, whether it's for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overs, spells, and he's took the breakthrough and he's got a couple of wickets. So he showed him faith and brought him back on, trying to get another wicket for India.
Mohammad Siraj once more runs away from the pavilion end, and that one is driven, not timed at all, by Ollie Pope up towards mid-off, fielded by Shubman Gill. Steve Harmison's also here for the next half an hour. And do you know much about Mohammad Siraj's story and his journey, his long and painful journey to
not really, Manners. I've just recently seen him in the last sort of 2 or 3 years in the IPL, who has just seemed to get better and better. Seems to be infectious, somebody who is enjoyed by his teammates, and like Offie said, will run through a brick wall.
Siraj in once again, and that's pushed out towards extra cover. Let's hope he's not too infectious. Hey?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, because when it comes to the way Ishant Sharma bowled and just before the tea interval, he got a little bit of reverse swing, and that little bit of reverse swing, that's what I'm sure the Indian captain Virat Kohli will be looking for from Mohammad Siraj. He's really looking to, he's bowled 3 or 4 full-ish balls, trying to get the ball to go off the straight. Not much has happened just yet, but you can see what the Indian bowlers are trying, or the Indian captain is trying to get from his fast bowler.
Here's Siraj once again, and that one is pushed out towards cover into the gap, and they set off for a single as Ajinkya Rahane runs around to do the fielding. I'll sum up the story in as short a time as possible. He's one of those players. It helps in Indian society, let's be honest, if you're born into the upper echelons of society, and if you're not, if you come from a traditionally lower caste, it's a very, very much more difficult journey in order to make it up through the ranks of cricket, and that basically is his story. He just persisted and persisted, never went away. Here he is once again, edged and wide of Rohit Sharma in the gully. Catchable height, waist height, just to the right of Rohit Sharma. And so consequently he broke through quite late. He was sort of well into his 20s, knew his game really, really well, but just persisted and persevered without any natural advantage, if you like. I mean, he had to overcome every sort of obstacle, like seriously working class.
He went to Australia though, didn't he, as a net bowler?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we ought to be clear about that net bowler thing because, you know, I mean, it makes it sound like they were sort of 17-year-old kids.
No,
I mean,
similar to what England have done. They took extra players.
They were
there.
like 18 players, basically. So, I mean, they knew he was a decent.
He wasn't in the official 16.
Not in the squad.
It was the two of them. There was him and the left-hander.
Nitaraj.
Punched away defensively this time by Dan Lawrence up towards mid-arm.
Nitarajan?
Yeah. Shardul Thakur, was he?
No, I think he was in the official squad, wasn't he?
I'm not sure. I think he was.
They had about 20.
He played. He bowled well in one of the games.
He got wickets and runs. He got wickets and runs in the last game, and I think there was 4 fast bowlers taken for what they would say is experience purposes,
future development. Yeah.
But it was also because of the bubble that was in, and that many injuries.
They all ended up playing.
They all ended up playing and playing well. To be fair, they all played their part in a historic win for India. But you mention his story there, Manners. It doesn't surprise me the way he's bowled throughout this Test match, because everything the captain's asked him to do, he's done it with enthusiasm and with a bit of bounce and spring in his step.
And he lost his father, didn't he, when he was over there?
Yes,
That's the sad part of the story. Yeah, I mean, he couldn't even come home for the funeral.
Yeah, desperate stuff. Here's England, 149 for 5, fighting back, trying to fight back. Ashwin into Ollie Pope, drives that one up towards mid-on, and there's no run. They go through for a single.
Was it Mohammad Siraj? It didn't touch a hard ball until he in his 20s? Was it him?
I think 18.
Was it?
Yeah. He played softball cricket.
Tennis ball,
tape ball.
Yeah, and there was a Sri Lankan bowler a couple of years ago as well. I don't think it was Shranga Lakmal. Might have been the other one with the mullet. Actually, quite a few of them have mullets with Sri Lankan fast bowlers.
Ashwin in again, a little bit of width outside the off stump. Beautiful punch off the back foot. Dan Lawrence. Oh my goodness me, he's timed that magnificently well. It looked like a defensive punch initially, but that's got to be one of the shots of the day.
Yeah, well, he's just followed up the shot. I think the shot of the day was the one just before the tea break. It was a beautiful shot down the ground, but you watch there from Lawrence, big tall man, gets right back on his crease, and because of the long levers he's got, big long legs, he's getting right back on his crease. He's bought himself some time to basically hit that ball where he wants. Short of a length, just sat up, and he's hit that beautifully. Timed it because it's just sat up. It's got to be hit powerfully. Timed it absolutely magnificent.
Didn't he just? Wowee. 4 runs of Dan Lawrence takes him up to 23, and he now plays defensively, and there's no run.
Well, I think because there's a bit of bounce and a bit of pace in the pitch, you get your value for your shots.
Here is Ashwin. Once again, appeal for leg before wicket, turning too much, I fancy. He's on to the front foot, and Ashwin is
here we go. Ashwin wants it.
He's having a standoff with Virat Kohli, his captain. He folds his arms defiantly across his chest with his sunglasses on, and finally stands up to Ashwin and says, "No, you can't have it."
Surely it's hit him outside off stump.
Yeah, outside, I would say.
I think it was turning too much and missing leg. Impact outside off stump and missing leg, I think. I would imagine. Here is Ashwin once again, and that's slapped away behind square on the offside. Nicely fielded at backward point by Rohit Sharma. I was talking about Shardul Thakur, and there's an interesting story that didn't make many of the newspapers that I heard. When he was released from the squad before the second Test match in Chennai, here's Ashwin once again, and onto the back foot, plays it defensively up towards mid-on. He decided that he wanted to play for Mumbai in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, which is the 50-over trophy, and the game was the following day. And travel restrictions meant that he couldn't take a flight. He wouldn't have been able to get there in time anyway. So he hired a car and a driver, and it was a 700-kilometre journey to Jaipur, which he undertook in 12 hours and arrived just in time to play in the 50-over game.
And it's not like the M1, is it? I mean, the roads over there, oh, dear me, it's a hazard.
It's not a journey you want to get 0 for 80 off 10 and get out first ball there, Darren.
Didn't get 0 for 80 very often, have
I knew that was coming.
Here we go. Jared will be looking it up now. How many times I got 0 for 80?
I remember you telling us a story about the time you did end up with 0 for 80. It was a game you were never supposed to play in, wasn't it? When Scowl, look of confusion.
What, me or Army?
Harmy, didn't you end up with 0 for 80? Just once.
Debut. Was it your debut?
Quite a few times I ended up with 0 for 80.
Okay, well, I'm not thinking about your debut because clearly that was a game that you weren't supposed to play in. 154 for 5. Dan Lawrence on 23. Ollie Pope on 23 as well. Pope's 23 have come from 78 balls, unlike Lawrence, who's needed just 36 deliveries. And that one's turned nicely off his pads behind square on the leg side by Ollie Pope. Do you think this is a wicket? We often say it's a wicket that you're never really in on, but do you think this is one where, I mean, there's not too much unpredictable happening.
Well,
I think you can get in on this pitch.
Absolutely, Maz. I think if you're in, it becomes obviously easier on most pitches. But I think the bowler's in the game purely because there's a bit of bounce there. So whether you're a seamer and you get an edge to a batsman, you know it's going to carry to slip. And as a spinner, with that bounce you get in, and there's a little bit of turn, you've got those fielders around the bat who feel in the game. But I think it's when you first come to the crease, that's when it can be. They've not been used to pictures like this, have they, this England team? Really, where it's got a bit of bounce and pace to it.
Completely unexpected, I would think. You know, everybody's thought and said that it would be much as the last Test match pitch. Here, that's a very good take. Bouncer, very short, well over the head of Dan Lawrence, and it's actually called wide by umpire Nitin Menon. That is pitched closer to his own feet than the batsman's feet.
But there again, as a fast bowler, when you do see the ball carry, you can get carried away with the odd short ball, as we've seen there. And you don't have to bowl it on your toes to it's not a bowler bouncer to see how high you can get it, which I think Shiraz tried to do there. But Rishabh Pant, he's kept really well. Let's just say that about Pant. A lot of talk about his keeping.
Forward comes Lawrence again and nudged out towards cover.
A lot of talk, wasn't there, man, is about his keeping, but he's actually kept beautifully in the last few Test matches.
Yeah, he has. He's kept well. He's, for somebody who is like a little jack in the box, he has kept very, very well. And the surface that you talk about, I think last week and the week before was a wicket that you'd never really feel in on. But if you look at the 5 wickets that have gone throughout today, it's more concentration. Joe Root got a decent ball, but the rest of them has been lack of concentration to what's been brought their downfall, rather than anything to do with the surface. So
here is Siraj in once again outside the off stump, and it's left alone. Concentration and execution. I'm thinking about Zach Crawley. That was a premeditated decision, wasn't it, to go down the wicket? Absolutely,
couldn't agree with you more. But that comes with the concentration factor of picking the right ball and then executing. Whether you're going to be positive or anything like that. I just look at this surface and think we'll see when the old cliche when both sides batting it. There's some top quality players in that Indian side, and if someone like Pujara or Sharma or Kohli gets in on this surface, it could be very, very difficult to remove them if their concentration levels are very high.
Worked away defensively actually he didn't work it at all. He played that with a dead bat off the back foot, and it trickles up towards mid-on.
Probably if it stays like this, because we've got one seamer really, and Ben Stokes, so we know he's not going to bowl lots of bowling.
England have got to hope that this pitch deteriorates pretty quickly, and that they can get
turns,
300.
Because we've won out-and-out seamer going in.
If it stays with pace and a bit of pace and a bit of bounce, then
we're still good.
Ben Stokes has bowled 15 overs in
we're
the
still
series,
good, mate. And we've seen.
Here is Siraj once more, and pushed defensively again to mid-off. 156 for 5.
And we've seen with Ben, the problem he has when he hasn't bowling on a regular basis, he does get that sore. He has got a sore knee, hasn't he? And he also gets sore toes and feet.
But the thing is,
when his foot banging into the crease.
With Ben as well, he's very expensive. He can go a boundary and over. And if you bowl 4 or 5 overs with a boundary and over, and you haven't got a first innings score on the board, then all of a sudden, when you captain in that, the fine balance between having a seamer that can bowl and having a seamer that you can't bowl.
Siraj once more driven down the ground. Dan Lawrence is taking the best, making the most of his opportunity here. That's a lovely, lovely straight drive for 4. He's played some exquisite shots as Dan Lawrence picked against most people's expectations as a 7th batsman. Never before has he batted at number 7 in a first-class game, let alone an international. Never batted at 7 before. Mind you, he does average 80 batting at number 6 in 6 games. But I mean, he's, you know, we always think specialist batsman at number 7, bit of a hiding to nothing. You know, it's going to be hard. You know, you're probably going to bat with the tail. But what a start he's made. 27 off 41.
Much needed as well. I mean, listen, the kid last year had a great season. He's had a great couple of seasons. For the Lions last year, he just got run after run after run. And now he's got his run in the England side. Got dropped, brought back into number 7. But he's playing well so far, 27.
Ashwin to Ollie Pope. Defends to short mid-wicket. Kohli Fields.
And England have picked him at the right time. I think it's just the right time for Dan Lawrence to come into the side. Any longer in first-class cricket, and you could possibly see some bad habits come into it with the amount of cricket you play. I think he actually has come into the England setup just at the right time.
Ashwin, and again, uses his feet, does Ollie Pope, step and a half, and then defends.
The thing is about Dan as well is, but with Ollie Pope, he started at 6, hadn't he? And everybody thought he should be higher up the order. With Dan, he got shoved in at the deep end, batting at 3 against India. So you've got to feel a little bit for him.
Width and cut away for 4. That's a lovely shot from Ollie Pope. Such difficult to know whether his hands or his feet were the quickest there, because he's picked up the length immediately and adjusted moved his feet and hands through late cut, back cut for 4. Lovely shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons with Ian Bell, and this is for me the biggest comparison. The late cut, the back cut. You know, he gets himself in a position to cut it, and then just lets it come that little bit further. Just rides the bounce and the pace. Beautiful shot.
Now plays defensively, and the ball pops out towards short leg. 164 for 5. Ollie Pope 28. Dan Lawrence 27. Now these two came together with a score on 121 for 5, and that was deep trouble. Still in trouble, you would say, have to say. This was a push gently past slip down towards backward point, and they go through for another single. So yeah, I mean, it's not a position of strength, but if these two were able to bat through till the close of play, then England can still finish the day ahead.
But we have to get to 300, don't we? Let's be honest about it and straight about it. From what we've seen so far, you win the toss and bat, probably the best conditions. It looks like it's not falling to bits. It looks like it's going to be another good day for batting tomorrow. Yeah. So we need 300.
Ashwin again gives that air and tosses it up, and it's pushed by Dan Lawrence out towards deep mid-wicket. Akshar Patel does the tidying up. England have now batted 60 overs. They are repairing, they are rebuilding. They are 166 for 5 with Dan Lawrence on 28, Ollie Pope on 29, and for the next 20 minutes, alongside Darren Gough and Steve Harmison, you'll be with Mark Nicholas.
Thanks, Manners. Neil Manthorpe, for those that don't know, but there can't be anybody left who doesn't know, can there? Tim Rice has just been asking who hosted that excellent lunchtime feature and had such historical knowledge of Indian cricket down the years, batsmen particularly. Jared Kimber and Neil Manthorpe is the answer.
A bubble of knowledge.
A bundle or a bubble?
A bubble.
A bubble. A bundle too. 166 for 5 then, as Akshar Patel comes in to bowl to Lawrence, who's quickly down the pitch and stays quite offside of the ball there. That's maybe wise for Lawrence, playing to his strength, and he defends on the length of the ball, and there's no run to mid-on. Little shadow of the... Oh, as down the pitch again comes Lawrence and gets hit on the pad. That's fine. Come down and defend. I've said it all day. There's nothing wrong with that. And if there isn't a huge amount of spin against Akshar Patel, it's a very good way to play him, and an even better way to play Ashwin. He misses that. It bounces out on the leg side. There's no run. The shadow I was talking about was from the overhead camera, spider cam. Otherwise, it's an oddly empty feeling at the ground today in this great heat. Well, it's a disappointment not to have more of that Indian crowd vibe, you know, they get so involved. Anyway, here's Akshay Patel again. Oh, that spins miles, so that's the end of that theory. Goffey's face tells all.
Well, that's the first one really we've seen spin big. It turned and bounced from Akshay Patel. It's a good job. He stayed in his crease on that one. It exploded, didn't it, out the wicket. That's the first one today, really. I think there might have been one to Ben Stokes just before tea.
Yeah, he bowled that just that little bit slower, didn't he? Just threw that above the eye line that little bit more, dragged him wider.
A lovely delicate cut stroke this time by Lawrence, who so comprehensively beaten the ball before, stayed calm and played this nice cut stroke. It actually didn't get a run because it went straight to the fielder. But I think the worry of that spin is why he's coming down the pitch slightly offside of the ball to try to compensate for that.
Well, he's trying to take out the LBW. You've seen how everybody gets out to Patel, and that is sitting on the crease, getting out LBW.
No run off that last ball as he came down and defended it. Sorry, Goffey.
So he's trying to get down to the crease and get outside off stump to take LBW out of it.
Now back he goes and tries to whip it like, you know, Mohammad Azharuddin used to do, but no run for it. 166 for 5 at the end of the over. Lawrence has 28, Pope has 29. England have lost 5 wickets today, and of course, as far as India are concerned, once Root and Stokes are amongst them, you feel very pleased about your work, and Bairstow too, and the other two out, the two openers, Sibley and Crawley. I've just been reading the Times, who are sponsoring our coverage, and Michael Atherton does, I think it's once a week, but every now and then anyway, he does a piece on a picture. He chooses a photograph. This is a black and white photograph from 1953 at the Oval, and it's a splendid picture of two little boys watching from up a lamppost, and lots of other people watching out of their windows because no one could get into the ground. It was just heaving, packed full. Now Ashwin bowls a nice full ball that spins, but Pope is well forward, hit on the pad, and it's no review. They're not even bothering to talk of a review, but it did spin again, didn't it?
It did spin, and it spun sharply, but well played from Ollie Pope. Got really outside the line, and Kohli again said no review, no, go away, you've had your fill.
And now he's beaten the other side. That's so clever from Ashwin. He totally does Pope there. That might have been the carom ball, and it's a classy old over. Beats him off inside edge one ball, outside edge the next ball.
And that's how he got done the last 2 test matches, stuck on the crease.
Yeah, it's a nothing shot, is it?
Nothing shot, stuck on the crease.
What's he got in his bag of tricks now? Still 4 balls to go. Down comes Pope wisely, and now wait a minute, we have a problem. England, that Pope knows he has a problem. It may be that he's hit this onto his own boot, and it's lobbed up in the air to short leg, and by Pope's face, I fear that is what's happened.
You are kidding me. Just when you want a little bit of luck to go your way, Ollie Pope comes down the wicket, inside edge onto his boot, and I think he does know. Body language tells you everything. Ollie Pope absolutely devastated about this. Element of luck hasn't gone the England batsman's way.
No.
Waiting on the third umpire to...
It's quite true that it hasn't, and we're now going to get a look at this. And by Pope's...
Oh, it is bat leg.
Face.
Inside edge onto bat leg.
What's it hit, Goffey?
Bat leg hit his back. I think he's nicked it onto his back leg.
Yeah, can go to the boot again.
Yeah, nicked it inside edge. Oh, onto the pad. Oh, dear me.
What a catch, by the way, as well.
What a catch. Keep your eye on the ball. A lesson for all young lads watching. Keep your eye on the ball. What great fielding. It's a massive, massive wicket, that. And they're lucky enough, the listeners, it's not only on TalkSport 2, we're on TalkSport as well, as Ollie Pope is giving out. Absolutely gutted for him, who are playing so well. 29 off 87 deliveries, and it's 166 for 6, Mark.
I get worried about us being on TalkSport because it's the second time we've announced joining TalkSport as well as TalkSport 2, and a wicket's fallen. But it's a bad wicket too, because Ollie Pope was in, and he has the capacity. He's done it all through his short first-class career to make big scores, and he really showed a lot of common sense. He'd clearly worked out a method that he was sticking to, and one feels for him there. A bit unlucky, not quite as unlucky as I thought. I thought he'd actually hit down onto the toe of his boot. It had popped up, but he got an inside edge. It hit the top of his back pad, the pad on his left leg and looped up to Shubman Gill, who'd held his ground actually. He hadn't come down the wicket with him. Some short leg fielders would go with you as you came down. He hadn't, and he looped up and he was able to catch it pretty easily.
It's a shame that playing so well, good partnership, two young players together, playing totally different. We've seen with Dan Lawrence, he was looking to get outside off stump to the left arm spinner, take LBW out of it and play through the leg side where he's comfortable. And we've seen with Ollie Pope, he's getting deep in the crease, looking for that cut shot that he plays so well. Army was talking about, very much reminds you of Ian Bell. He also likes to use his feet and hit with the spin through mid-wicket. But for that one to get an inside edge on it and come off the back pad, not ideal for England, but he was playing so well there, Ollie Pope. But it's a massive wicket for India, by the way. Huge wicket.
Coming down the wicket outside off stump to try and not get beat on the inside, which he got beat 2 balls before off Ashwin with the Karen ball. So he's moving his line across to try and negate that spin of missing it outside edge, potentially getting stumped. And here he's getting an inside edge onto pad and into the air. So hugely unlucky. Talk about the team selection. It's probably a good job now. We've got a batsman coming in at number 8.
Ben Folkes it is, who's taken guard and is ready for Ashwin, who bowls him a full toss. Unbelievable. How many of these bowl in not barely bowls one in the month of Sundays. Anyway.
There might be a few more on day 2.
Why? Oh, I see. Okay. We'll leave that one. Anyway, Folkes is off the mark because he drove it to mid-on and ran quickly, so he's got off the mark. Folkes played very well against the spin in the previous 2 matches. How England need him to hang on in here with Dan Lawrence today. Lawrence 28. Folkes off the mark, 167 for 6. That is not a good enough score on this pitch. Cannot tell you.
But one thing is, and we did talk about it last time because he's in no man's land, Ben Folkes. If Dan Lawrence does get dismissed at some point, I think that's when we've got to see Ben Folkes try and play a few shots against.
Except that Dom Bess plays okay. Down comes, we'll discuss that in a second, down comes Lawrence and thought about working that leg side and didn't. And I'm glad he didn't because he hit it back to Ashwin safely for no run.
You say that, Darren, but
and Bess with an average of 26 in test matches, I'm told, as Lawrence works that off a length to mid-wicket for no run. 167 for 6, he's on 28 and Folkes on 1.
Bess can bat. Bess has got 50s, he can bat. And you would say Jack Leach is probably our best. Jack Leach has probably
You're
got.
You're playing in India, mate, against 2 of the best spinners around.
Yeah, but you've still got to back Dom Bess. That he can bat, he can score runs.
I don't think your strength was defending the turning ball.
I was going to say, no.
Hey. You'd be surprised. Never cut an off spinner, lad. Never cut an off spinner.
You've got Jack Leach, who's probably got the best defence of the majority of England batsmen. He doesn't score any runs, but Jack Leach can get behind it and stop there.
You're getting carried away now, you two. Come on.
No, we just think Dom Bess is okay, and we don't want.
He's okay, but we still need to score runs.
Well, Bess, Leach, Anderson to come. Only the one specialist seamer picked in this match by England, James Anderson. We shall see whether that proves folly or not, as Akshar Patel bowls a nice ball on a good length, which is defended by Folkes. It goes into the leg side, not the offside as he wanted it to, but that's okay. Gareth Batty's replacing Darren Gough, and so we won't hear about Gareth's batting, I suppose. Well, we might, actually. Played a few good strokes this time. And Folkes plays a perfect forward defensive one. Right out of the textbook for the modern age, because the bat was just a little in front of the pad but still alongside it in line, so there wasn't an obvious gap. He waits again and he plays that defensive stroke again. This time the ball bounces more and hits the splice of the bat, just drops down to short extra cover, who's come in a new fielding position for the last ball to go with the slip and the short leg as the other 2 close fielders, and Folkes goes back and he knocks that down to short leg. Folkes is batting with a chest pad, which is unusual, I'd say, against spin. I don't think he'd be. Maybe he's expecting a bit of Ishant Sharma later, but I doubt he'll see it until the next new ball. And now he's beaten by one that spins. Akshar Patel has bowled it much slower today, or a little slower, not much slower, giving the ball a little more air, allowing it to spin on a pitch that isn't offering in the way that the last 2 did, when he could just drive it directly into the surface and watch it respond. And now he goes back to Folkes. There is now just the first signs as that ball jumped at Stokes and he defended it okay. It's 167 for 6 at the end of the over. There are a few signs now of some balls spinning, just bursting the top of the surface a bit. And so if England could recalibrate, say, and I mean, we were urging them to get 300, but 250 gets them in the game.
Yeah, it's certainly a score and something to actually bowl against, as it were. Yeah, I mean, just the batters in the crease when they're moving forward and then dragging the feet back. There's more dust around. The odd ball is just displacing the earth a little bit, and we're definitely seeing more lateral movement. There's definitely a fraction more side spin, and even there's a little bit going up every now and again. A couple that over.
Ashwin now to Lawrence, who's back, defends in that unusual way of his left leg splays out to the side as he stands on the back foot, but he does retain a decent sideways on position with the back foot, with the toes pointing towards cover in the time-honoured way. But he is a bit front on, if we're honest, primarily because he is a right-handed and right-sided player. Anyway, he relies on instinct. He's one of those players you don't want to be judging his technique too much, rather his product. And he waits for Ashwin, and he goes back bravely to a very full ball and watches it closely, head over the ball and drops it down to short leg.
I feel like he goes back parallel so that he can get his left leg out of the way to access the ball with his back, because he's worried about it spinning sharply or drifting into the pads.
Good description. 99 on Ashwin's back as that ball's knocked to mid-wicket off quite a full length by Ashwin. Kohli picks it up, sort of makes as if he's going to throw at the stumps but isn't. And now he plays back beautifully, because that ball bounced at him and he played it so softly, waited so calmly, that he took all the sting out of it. I mentioned that 99 was on Ashwin's bat. I wonder why. I wonder if he's once got out for 99 or something like that. We can all understand why Joe Root chose 66, but Ashwin 99 is a bit different. Now a drive down the ground by Lawrence gives him a single off a full ball from Ashwin and takes him to 168 for 6, or England to 168 for 6, Lawrence to 29.
Maybe a penchant for a certain style of ice cream.
You think so? You think he's an ice cream lover? Likes the old flake in
Why
there,
not?
does he? Yeah. I know what he means. Ashwin again, and that does spin, and folks misses it and then searches for it and can't find it, but it loops up safely on the offside. The end of the over, 168 for 6 for Lawrence on 29, folks on 1. A word from Gareth Batty, and then someone's taking over from me. Who is it? Oh no, sorry, you're not. Akash is with me still. Sorry everybody, I'm off the mark. Akash, your thoughts are very much India's day.
Yes, so far 168 for 8, or rather 6. You would call it an India day, because once you lose the toss on a surface like this, you would take it every day of the week. And England, they'll have only themselves to blame for the inability to actually bat longer, deeper. This is a pitch where you should bat at least 5 sessions after you win the toss.
Would you? Down the pitch he comes as Lawrence, but he gets hit in the pad and it goes out in the offside safely. Would you say that England have batted poorly?
Yes, they have. First day on a surface like this, you should bat better.
Here's Akshar Patel again, and a nice orthodox forward defensive stroke from Lawrence for no run. I'll come to you at the end of the over, Akash, rather than try to squeeze in between balls, because I've got another question or two for you. Lovely sight of colour on our two big television screens in this commentary room, or studio if you like, in the News UK building on the 17th floor. That goes down the leg side and is missed by Lawrence, who goes to deflect it, but no such luck. Can do a Henry Blofeld here, because a couple of London buses have just sort of gone under my nose beneath me in the roads of London that are 17 floors down here, right in the centre of the city near Borough Market and the Shard. And there's a single there for Lawrence into the gap at wide-ish mid-on. He thought about 2, and then a loud scream of no sent Folkes back. Folkes then shuffles with his chest pad, lifts it into place, tugs at the strap of his trousers, gets his bat and gloves organised on the handle. You need to be comfortable when you face the ball. Comfortable he is, and face the ball he does, and very well too, as he defends it on the back foot. Folkes has just a single from the balls that he's faced so far in this innings, 9 of them. Got off the mark first ball after a full toss from Ashwin gave him the chance. And now he goes forward. He does defend nicely against spin. He seems comfortable doing it. Watches the ball closely out of the face of the bat. Akash, we've seen the first signs of the odd ball spinning and disturbing the surface. You know more about the soils over there. How quickly would a surface like this deteriorate?
See, it's not that significant or worrying at this point in time. I expect this to be a fairly decent surface to bat on tomorrow and at least half a day of day 3. Only after that you'd find like a lot of balls misbehaving. So this is still a good batting surface and remains to be that, I think, for the next day and a half at least.
Thank you. Forward defensive from Dan Lawrence, who tugs on his helmet. The visor of his helmet, of course, metal bars. There was a time when the Perspex glass was the visor and it used to steam up. Quite hard to see the ball. They put some holes in it eventually. And that's knocked by, and I mean knocked, he sort of got down quite low in his forward stride and just gave it a little punch, perhaps you'd call it, out to mid-on, who's back, so he gets a single for it. It's interesting that mid-on's back. They're obviously wary of Lawrence's ability to come down the pitch and hit over the top. They saw him do it a little bit in Chennai. Ashwin again. And back goes Folkes. One of the reasons Folkes plays spin so well is he plays it so calmly. You never see him rushed. Nice soft grip on the bat. That means he's not pushing hard at the ball. And he doesn't look wary of it. I'm not saying he won't get out, but he doesn't look as if it frightens him in any way. Oh, he has got out. God. Ben Folkes has played forward and nicked it to slip. How disappointing.
No, it's a lovely piece of bowling here from Ashwin. He's challenged him on the inside with more of an over-the-top spinner. That sort of the seam cantered towards leg slip. This one a little bit more square spin, just outside off stump, and with a bit of square spin, just runs on with the arm, just holding the bat in front of the pad as you want to do, and it just catches the outside edge. A smart catch from Rahane at slip. Wonderful piece of bowling from Ashwin. Pulled him across the crease and finished him off with the outside edge, one that went straight on. Wonderful bowling from Ashwin.
Well, I can barely believe the conversation before that ball. I still maintain that his method against spin's very good, but he was beaten on the outside edge, and all the great off spinners have that as an option, Gareth. They can beat inside edge obviously, because that's where they spin the ball, but beating outside edge is a lovely talent.
Yeah, Ashwin's so very clever at it, and he's sort of come into his own the last 4 or 5 overs with just a tiny bit of lateral movement off the surface. He can use his positions at the crease where he gets drop and angle through the air in as well as the spin off the surface, so he's dragging you across all the time, and you end up playing at one that just goes on with the arm and just brings in the slip there. It's a wonderful piece of bowling. It's happened over a period of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 balls, and then he set him up for that one just to run on the outside edge.
Akash, can you sense that I'm a little low, because 2 favourite players of mine actually, Ollie Pope and Ben Folkes, just got out. I think they're really good young cricketers.
They are actually, and so is Dan Lawrence. So these 3 guys have played really well. Ollie Pope, the way he was shaping up, was playing against the spin, using his feet nicely, soft hands. He's got the making of a very decent player going forward. Same can be said about Folkes. He's got wonderful hands, one of the finest keepers in the world right now in red ball cricket, and can actually play that dogged role and just eat a lot of deliveries with a solid defensive technique. So you're spot on, Mark, with your eye for talent, that these 2 have a good future ahead of them. But then this time around, the wily old fox, Ravichandran Ashwin, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He looked a little flat to me in the first couple of spells, but like Gareth just said, he's come to his own. Now he's just showcasing his wares a little more, slowing the ball, deceiving the batsman in the air, and just the right line, which is outside off. And that's once again down to his skill level and understanding of the game.
Yeah.
The way he changes his line, Mark.
He's in the pantheon, isn't he? You know, Arapali Prasanna and Venkataraman and Harbhajan Singh. He's he's up there with them all. And it's a strike now for Dom Bess back in the side. Again, down the pitch he comes straight away. How bold is that? And he defends nicely with the full face of the bat. It runs to point. There's no run from it. But all the Indians around the back got excited there. Ashwin won't mind, I think, a new batsman coming down the pitch. He certainly doesn't look as if he minds. He gave a bit of a stare to Bess. As if to say, careful, Sunny Dom, I should say. And throws it right up as if to tease him, and actually overpitched it a bit. And had Bess been in for 20 minutes, he'd have probably driven that.
He's got this wonderful skill, Ashwin, that for a very tall man, he's 6'3", 6'4", he still manages to get the ball up and down. And from that height, it's incredible. The overspin he can get on the ball is he's frighteningly good, and he's showcasing his talents brilliantly well here.
He did, 177. Oh gosh, England in real trouble, aren't they?
And they are actually, and some of it you'd say it's a problem of their own making. Because the hangover of a long, arduous tour, playing on turning pitches, it does take a toll on you if you start questioning your own game. The self-doubts, they do creep in, because the England that batted on day one of this Test series, Mark, and the England that's batting now, it seems a stark different team.
Okay, well, we've got Dan Lawrence on strike to Akshar Patel, and there's a nice push drive through extra cover. We'll get Lawrence a couple as Andrew McKenna takes over the commentary.
Thank you, Mark. If you missed that wicket of Ben Folkes, then I suggest you listen to Hawksby and Jacobs at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, because I've got a funny feeling you might be hearing that piece of commentary again. Clips of the week. Akshar Patel is in. Dan Lawrence pushes straight back down the pitch, and there is no run. It was perfect timing. It was absolutely brilliant, Mark, I've got to be honest. We've all been there. 172 for 7. Lawrence, 33 not out, uses his feet, gets to the pitch of the ball, turns to mid-wicket, and there is no run. There's still 23 overs left in the day. Akshar Patel is in. Off the back foot is Lawrence. He's got it past the man at point. There is a cover sweeper, and the fielding will be done by Mohammad Siraj. Lawrence will come back for a couple. And Gareth Batty, I remember saying to you earlier, the next 15 minutes or so is absolutely vital. The next 15 overs of this game look absolutely massive, because, quite frankly, to put it bluntly, England have still got to be batting in 15-20 overs time, haven't they?
Yeah, that's just the story of the day. They've just, when you feel like a partnership's been growing.
Akshar is in. Off the back foot is Lawrence to mid-on, no run.
They've just lost a wicket, and it's almost, whether it be 15 runs the partnership, 15 minutes or 15 overs, it just seems that magical number today. And as you say, Dom Bess really now needs to stay positive, yes, but he needs to be batting for Lawrence, who seems to have a great game plan.
Lawrence, oh no! He's turned it off Shubman Gill at short leg, and the rebound catch has been taken, and if the TalkSport 2 commentary team got another wicket. Gareth Batty's just said how well Lawrence has played, and he's turned this one. Now, has it gone off boot and ricochet? It's going to go upstairs to the third umpire, Anil Chowdhury. Now, the important bit here is we need to keep an eye on the umpires to see what the soft signal is. Do they think out? They have signalled out.
Bump first and then the fairness also.
So Anil Chowdhury has to find a reason to overturn this and give Lawrence not out. The first thing is, it's not a no ball.
Stand by.
So now we get the replay. It goes straight off the maker's sticker, but then disappears from shot. Lands on the toe of Shubman Gill. His hands are nowhere near it. And we're going to get the zoomed in shot to make sure it hits the toe end of the boot. Did it bounce first?
Bit of ground and toe for me there, Marcus.
Can you show me something?
Does appear that it does brush the ground.
Just confirm it again with the other shot, please. Do you have anything?
They're now looking at a different angle.
Yeah, I can see some dust here. Yes. Can you do the other shot also, like?
So they want the zoom in on that. I just heard Anil Chaudhary say you can see some dust.
He's not the only person that can either, Maka.
Yeah, stand by.
Akash, are you going out or not out on this one?
Waiting.
Not out. I could see this as a bump ball, a little bit of turf. And the second thing is we tend to look for that shadow under the ball. It is the moment it's invisible, it's obviously touching the ball, touching the ground, isn't it? The slide can't go through.
Yeah, I can see off the ground. Yeah.
So Anil Chaudhary is still
go to the
looking
big screen.
and has now made his decision, and on the big screen it goes from decision pending to not out, and Dan Lawrence therefore survives. He remains on 35 and England are 7 down, and Gareth Batty avoids the ignominy of joining Mark Nicholas in talking a wicket for England.
No, never in doubt. He played it beautifully. Got over the ball, hit it down into the, as we mentioned earlier, hit it down in towards that fielder. The fielder was nowhere near a catch. It would have been sheer fluke had it hit him on the boot and gone up. And Lawrence was in full control of the shot. There was no luck on India's part there, but he would have had his heart in his mouth for just a split second. You know, it's one of those freak dismissals, shall we call it, had it have been that way.
Absolutely, but well, I mean, Akash, that could be match defining, because England, they've gone in with one more batsman, but had they lost the 8th wicket there, that could have been absolutely huge. I mean, it's the first time in, I think since the first test just about, that they've actually batted more than 60 overs.
Well, you're right. This would have been just added would have added more salt to the wounds. I don't think it's going to actually change the outcome of the game still, because Dan Lawrence has got Dom Bess, then Leach and Anderson to follow.
Ashwin will start a new over. He's bowling to Bess, and Bess is trying to play off the back foot, forcing this one into the covers, and doesn't actually catch up with that one. It goes through to Rishabh Pant, the wicket keeper, and there is no run. Pant takes cleanly, lobs it back to Ashwin, and here he comes again. Outside half of Dom Bess's bat will be fielded by Rahane, the slip fielder, going away to his right hand side, and there is no run. We're in the 68th over of the day, which means we're 12 away from the new ball. Ashwin, as Bess comes down the pitch, plays it nicely into the leg side. It'll be fielded by the sweeper at backward square leg, and Bess will come back for a couple. He's off the mark. 2 from 5 deliveries. England 176 for 7. Gareth Batty.
It's been positive as Dom Bess since he came in. The first ball he ran down the wicket, then he's tried a little cut shot, he's tried a few little bits, he's trying to be proactive. This is good skill. He's got down the wicket, got close to the ball, just clipped it into that leg side, not trying to overhit the ball, happy with the 2.
Slip, silly point, short leg waiting for Bess. He turns this to Shubman Gill under the helmet at short leg, and there is no run. England winning the toss and batting, making 2 changes from the 3rd test. Jofra Archer and Stuart Broad left out. Lawrence and Bess coming into the side. Outside portion of Bess's bat, he drops it to short third man. He wasn't that interested in going, but Dan Lawrence, the non-striker, was absolutely adamant that they were going to go, and they will come through for a very comfortable single in the end. So 177 for 7 after the single taken. England therefore going in with 2 seamers, well, 1.5 if you're not counting Ben Stokes as a front lineman. So Anderson and Stokes, and then stocking up the spin options after they'd loaded with seam in the previous match just a few days ago. This one from Ashwin is turned on the leg side. Lawrence beats Shubman Gill under the helmet, and it will go away to backward square leg, and they will take a single. End of the over here on TalkSport 2. 68 gone, 178 for 7. Akash, can I just ask a question? Mark was making a point earlier about the stands not being overly populated today. Bit of a theory on that from mine is, if India were batting, would it be a lot fuller? I'm just wondering if it might be as simple as that.
Well, maybe yes. Marginally fuller, yes. I think there are 2-3 factors here. just the euphoria of a new stadium, pink ball test match, only the second in on the Indian soil. So that's evaporated a little bit. Now you've got a second test match on the same at the same venue. But yes, India batting brings more people, that's for sure.
Lawrence has helped himself to a few on this occasion. Akshar Patel has dropped it short, angled into him, and Lawrence, deep in his crease, has put this over square leg and away for 4. Lawrence goes for 40 from 69 deliveries and picked up the length of that one so quickly and just helped it on its way.
Yeah, with the field that Aksar's got set, it's almost a free shot, but it's all about the skill that Lawrence has. He gets deep in the crease and he gets it up and over that infield. He picks length quickly, so he gets deep and gives himself even more margin to get his hands through the ball up and over square leg. Fine batting again from Lawrence.
40 not out. He turns this on the onside. Akshar's going to have to go after this one himself and field. And again, Best needed some persuading to take that single. He was the man going to the wicket-keeper's end. Akshar doesn't pick it up cleanly, and they do end up taking the single. Lawrence was instantly going for it. Best was slower away, and if Akshar had picked that one up, then that one might have been interesting. I'm not saying he would have run him out, but it certainly would have been pretty close. 183 for 7 it is, though. We found about the only chink in Akshar's armour at the moment. He didn't field that one cleanly. Everything else for him in his international cricket life at the moment seems to be pretty much on rails. It is going like a dream for him.
Come on, Macca, give him a break. He's 22 and a half overs in. If that's a fast bowler after 2 overs, we're giving them leeway.
2 for 58 for Akshar. He got the first 2 wickets, getting both England openers. He goes in. Dom Bess is deep in his crease, taking this one from about off stump and just pushing out on the onside, no run. Jared Kimber.
Sad to say, but Akshar Patel's career is on the slide. His bowling average in Test cricket now is over 10, into double figures again. He may never get back to single figures.
The selectors will be around the table after this game, I'm sure.
Drop him. He's gone. He's gone.
He's still got the world record lowest bowling average, of course.
Left arm around the wicket. He bowls to Dom Bess. There's some bounce there for him. Bess rides the bounce, turns it down to short, fine leg, and there is no run. So Akshar struck today with just the second ball that he sent down. Dom Sibley getting an inside edge onto his own stumps, and then Zach Crawley, who went down the pitch 2 or 3 times, got one wrong and was caught at mid-off. Dom Bess on this occasion is just propping forward, popping it into the onside, and there's no run. Joe Root became the 3rd man, dismissed by Mohammad Siraj, the first of 2 for Siraj, because he also got Bairstow for 28 LBW. That made it 78 for 4. Ben Stokes made 55 before being LBW to Sundar. Bess is completing the over by turning it out on the onside, and there's no run. Ollie Pope with that incredible catch by Shubman Gill, caught at short leg after he took an inside edge and then off the flap of the pad of the back leg. That was 166 for 6, and then folks caught by Rahane at slip for 170 for 7. It's commentary of the 4th test between India and England on TalkSport 2 with the Times and the Sunday Times cricket team. That is writing with an edge. And these are the thoughts of the former England spinner, Gareth Batty.
Yeah, young Lawrence putting up a real fight here. Bit of a rear guard in an unfamiliar position, batting at 7. He's 41 off 70 and playing very nicely. Don't want to jinx him and say any more about that, but certainly justifying his selection right now. Hopefully can form a bit more of a partnership with Bess.
Ashwin goes in. Oh, it's driven back by Lawrence. Ashwin put a right hand up in his follow through. More almost as of self-preservation than anything else. Lawrence has absolutely pinged that out the middle of the bat. It goes away dead straight for 4, and it's a 4 that takes England to 187 for 7, and Lawrence has 45.
Now, as all the modern young players do now, he's got some power in his batting. He's skipped down the wicket, he's got his left leg out of the way, so he's showing a real intent to get a full strike at the ball, and he does. He nearly takes the umpire out. He's on his haunches on the floor. The spinner's looking at his finger. It's all happening, but a 4 in the end.
Ashwin goes in, gives that one a little bit of loop. It's turned on the onside, no run. Lawrence remains 45 not out. Yeah, he got his fingertips on the end of that one, Ashwin, but to be honest, it was more like a goalkeeper tipping it around the post, and umpire Nitin Menon hit the deck. He was taking evasive action for that one. In the end, actually, it's not Nishan Sharma, it's Virendra Sharma. And he didn't fancy taking that one on the Swede. Lawrence clips to Washington Sundar, who's at deep mid-on for a single. Lawrence goes to 46, 188 for 7.
Good batting, Lawrence. He's gone to play a big expansive shot earlier in the over. He's got mid-on, pushed back, and now he's just taken the single. Ashwin gets a little bit full on him, flips his wrists over, takes the single to long on.
In goes Ashwin. Bess is just turning his wrists on that one, playing it to mid-wicket, using the spin, guiding it out there and playing safely. You can hear the support through the stump microphone as Ashwin goes in. Takes Bess on the front pad, but would have turned and bounced and missed the stump, so there's no real appeal on that one, and there is no run. It's interesting that Pant varies from language to language. When he wants to get into the batsman's ear, all of a sudden it's English, just so he can make a point. Ashwin, oh, that's a slower one. Bess comes down the pitch, but bails out on any particular shot and just prods it out on the offside. And there's no run. Over completed here on TalkSport 2. 70 overs gone, so 20 overs left in the day. 10 overs till a new ball. England 188 for 7.
Yeah, and all the great spinners, shall we say, not just good spinners, all the great spinners, a lot of their mystique is about the theatre around the bat. So you want your keeper, like you say, Macca, just saying the odd thing, just to create a doubt, create a question in the batsman's head. You want your close infielders making some noise, just trying to create something around the bat. There's a theatre about spin bowling when it's bowled well and there's catches in. And Pant loves that part of the game, and he gets right involved for his bowlers.
Well, Alex Tudor picks up on it in social media. I'll come back to that in a moment. Akshar is going to bowl left arm around the wicket. Lawrence has come down the pitch and has missed it, and he's stumped. Innings over for Lawrence. He couldn't resist it. He came down the pitch. He's out stumped for 46, and England are 188 for 8. And I will now make that point again that Alex Tudor earlier this morning picked up on the fact that Rishabh Pant made a point when Zach Crawley was batting about how he said something like he's getting frustrated, he's getting cross. The next ball, Zach Crawley came down the pitch and chipped it to mid-off as he got it wrong. And I just wonder if Rishabh Pant has got into Dan Lawrence's head, because on that one, he's come down the pitch, had a big swish at that one, has missed it by quite a long way in the end, and he's walking back. Stump Pant bowled Akshar for 46 from 74 balls.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to give a bit of credit to Akshar. He's been challenging the stumps most of the day, bowling very straight in his action. Just as before he releases the ball, he sees Lawrence coming down the wicket. He bowls the ball a fraction wider of the stumps to drag him away from the hitting area and just back of a length, so the ball then is not quite where Lawrence thinks. Goes through with the shot and does him on the outside. Smart piece of keeping from Pant. I'm going to say very fine piece of bowling from Akshar Patel because of the change. A lot wider, a lot shorter in length and a bit of spin. But 46 from 74 from Lawrence. Pretty good performance from the young man.
Well, here comes Jack Leach. It's just him and James Anderson to go. And it means that England haven't had a stand of over 50 with 8 wickets down in 63 innings. The longest they've gone since 1887-88. That's quite a remarkable statistic. England cannot get a big partnership together. They get them started, but they then can't take it to the next level.
I think on previous innings pre this, you would suggest, well, there's a good reason for that. The surfaces have been tough. I think right up until the last sort of half an hour, I think it's been relatively good for batting, and Akash sort of alluded to it. It's what's gone before that is still lingering around the batters, and what's confusing possibly in the head. And it's a difficult tour, India. 4 test matches, and there's a clue in the word. It's test cricket. It tests you. It tests your skill, tests your physicality, but also tests you in your mind and your thought process.
We're in the 71st over. That's the first ball of the 71st over, so there's still 19 left of the day, and we have to be starting to ask questions of ourselves about India batting before close of play on day one of this test match after England won the toss and batted. Here comes Akshar, he's over the wicket. Jack Leach in his crease, drops it down to short third man and takes a single to get off the mark immediately. And Darren Gough has joined Gareth and myself in commentary.
Hi everyone. Interesting, eh? Dan Lawrence trying to get on with it, realising he's batting with the lower order. Again, didn't quite get to the pitch, turned back past him. Good bit of keeping again from Rishabh Pant and just takes the bails off. Well bowled from Akshar Patel. What a find he's been, by the way, for India. When it comes down to it, I said to Army, you know, just off air, but I think this is the best India have bowled in this series.
Akshar is in, middle of the bat from Bess and just pushes out quietly, no run.
I say that because if you look at the first test, obviously they didn't bowl that well. England batted well in that game, and I think to get that big score they did in the first test. The 2 test matches, I can't really count that because I think anybody worth anything in salt will get the wickets.
Akshar is in, taken on the pad is Bess, given out LBW. He's immediately reviewed it because frankly he might as well. England have got 3 reviews left and that is potentially the 9th wicket.
Give me front on, please.
Yeah.
So let's go through the
given out.
process.
As Akshar Patel walked past him, Best just sort of said, I've hit it. That's why I've reviewed it.
We get the first replay. He's not hit that.
Keep going, just confirm
Miles
with
away
Alvarez.
from it.
Looks gap between bat and pad.
It might be missing
Bat and
leg stump,
ball.
but he's certainly not hit it first. It
No,
goes off
he's
his
front
pad
edge,
onto
yeah.
the inside edge.
He's giving out, so umpire's call, he looks pretty
Hand
out
first.
on me. Leg stump.
You
Ball
can
tracking,
see
please.
off stump and then a big gap as it makes its way towards middle stump. It's only line that's saving this. Now we get it. Impact in line.
Pitching outside.
Hitting
Back in
the
line.
wickets.
Hitting.
It's out LBW.
Umpire.
Leg stump.
Nitin, you're on screen.
Absolutely
Stay with your
gone.
ball.
He got it totally wrong there, Don Best, thinking he'd got an inside edge on it. It was after they hit the pad. But again, well bowled from Akshar Patel. Can he get 5 again? That's 4 for 59 of 23.4 overs again from Akshar Patel. 189 for 9 England. This has been disastrous. Yes, India, the best have bowled in the series for me without far, both seam and spin. But England's batting, probably the worst in the series on a pitch that's good to bat on. Win the toss, it's good to bat, and we're 189 for 9. And poor old Jimmy Anderson comes to the rescue once again, or tries to come to the rescue.
As I say, let's hope he does from an England point of view.
I think we'll see a few reverse sweeps if he starts rescuing us from this position.
Yes. And Jared, well, I'm sure we'll be asking the question for us all to get our predictions in. Which delivery is the reverse sweep coming out to first? But anyway, so Leach and Anderson are together. The scorecard for England: Crawley 9, Sibley 2, Bairstow 28, Root 5, Stokes 55, Pope 29, Lawrence 46, Folkes 1, Bess 3. That is the England scorecard. And as Goffey mentioned, Akshar Patel has 4 for 59. And he's got numbers 10 and 11 at the crease.
What a find, Macca. He's been absolutely outstanding. 3 5-pers already in 3 test matches.
Do you know the other thing? There was a video footage on Twitter the other day. Jadeja is back running and doing exercise, so he's
That's
not
great.
far away as well.
Well, he comes in for Sundar, doesn't he? But saying that, there won't be 3 spinners playing in English conditions.
Here is Akshar goes in. It's the middle of James Anderson's bat coming forward as he pops it out on the offside. Short leg slip in place for Anderson.
Well, that's his normal one block. I'm expecting a reverse sweep here or a sweep. He normally blocks the first one. It's the second or third delivery he tends to try and sweep.
Akshar left arm over. He's not going to reverse sweep that one. It takes him on the pad, loops up. Rishabh Pant gets excited as he thinks short leg should be taking that as a catch. But there's nothing in that. 2 in the over. 189 for 9. It's TalkSport 2. It's Gareth Batty and Darren Gough. I'm going to move out as Neil Manthorpe's moving in for the ball by ball.
Well, I think when it comes down to it now, what I want to see now is what does Jack Leach do? What does Jack Leach do? Because he's someone he showed he can bat at times for England against Ireland. I think he was excellent. He's done it when he's batted with Ben Stokes and when he's defended. But he's in a situation now where we're 189. We need what? Well, we need 300. I don't think we're going to get there. So realistically, he's going to make a decision. Who's more likely to get a quick 20 here? Is it Anderson or is it Leach? Where are you looking? Manners?
Can I go neither?
I actually think Jimmy Anderson's the more likely to.
Yeah.
Well, he can score
He
quickly
hits it
with the
cleaner,
sweep.
doesn't
He
he?
hits it clean. But what he doesn't like doing, Jimmy Anderson, is facing seam these days.
Here's Ashwin, and that one is fizzing past the outside edge. I think Jack Leach played inside the line of that one deliberately.
Give up.
Giving him the benefit of the doubt. Jared can tell us that there was a shocking statistic that England have failed to reach 200 in their last 5 consecutive innings, which is the first time in many years that they've played 5 consecutive innings without reaching 200. And now a single for Jack Leach as he comes forward to Ashwin, turns it away past short leg, and off they go. Trot for one that takes the total up to 190. This would be 6 consecutive innings without reaching 200.
They're going to get there.
If they need another 10,
They're getting there.
Now 190 for 9.
They made 193 last Test match combined.
Right.
So they're almost there in the
Well,
first
we're doing all
innings.
right then.
Yeah.
What's up with you all?
You improve that much every time.
Well, okay. They've doubled
We should
their
get to day
aggregate.
3 though.
Here is Ashwin once again. Forward comes Jimmy Anderson. Plays that one very nicely, defensively out in the offside. So numbers 10 and 11 at the crease for England after they won the toss and chose to bat first. And a combination of a poor batting display and an excellent bowling display, as we've seen at India's day. That's pushed nicely by Anderson out towards cover again, and there's no run.
Again, India losing the toss. England getting the best part of the pitch and failing to put a score on the board. 190 is just not good enough from what we've seen.
2 slips as Anderson comes forward. That hits the inside edge. Jack Leach sets off for there could be a run out here, a direct hit, and Leach and Anderson, either one of them could have been run out. Jack Leach just set off. He was just determined. He was running, and Jimmy Anderson tried to send him back, and he's got a rueful grin on his face.
Well, he's off the
now.
mark. He's off the mark. He's happy for that. Now it didn't hit. You know, when you're in that situation, you're just running with your eyes closed because you're thinking, don't hit. Oh, it's not hit. I'm all right.
Ashwin in again, and this time Leach opens the face of the bat, steers it into the slip cordon. It's fielded by Virat Kohli. Single has taken England up to 191 for 9. Yes, Jared.
Who's got the best bowling average of all time?
Axar Patel.
At the moment, that is correct. He is beneath George Lohmann.
Is he under 10?
Beneath George Lohmann.
He's averaging, what is he, 9 point something?
No, he's just gone over 10, which is very
Wow.
annoying because he has been in the single figures today. He's at 10.4. George Lohmann is at 10.75. That is the lowest bowling average of anyone who's ever taken more than 20 wickets. George Lohmann took 112 wickets in 18 matches, finishing his career in 1896 before we fixed cricket pitches. But
We can't count that.
well, I mean,
Here is Patel looking for a 5th wicket in the innings. No, not out. Nicely played defensively by James Anderson. So Axar Patel has 22 wickets in 5 innings.
That's right, yeah.
Can you imagine the pitches back then?
Yeah, I can. Is Patel once more Axar, and it's nicely played off the back foot, punched through the cover point region by Jimmy Anderson, and I'll come back for 2 there. He'll move on to 3. Jack Leach has 292 for 9.
But if you want modern day, Kyle Jamieson from New Zealand currently has a bowling average of 13.27.
That won't last.
And the only other sort of modern day bowler in this list really is Mike Proctor, 15.23.
No,
I say
he-
modern day as in it was at least after the ball.
He was
played
special.
7 test matches.
He was special though. Oh, dear me, hard to play.
Here is Axar Patel around the wicket. Forward comes Anderson, pushing it up towards mid-off, and it's gone straight to the fielder, Rohit Sharma. How many wickets did Mike Proctor take for Gloucestershire?
A lot, didn't he? He was pretty good.
1,500, wasn't it?
They renamed the county after him, didn't they?
Proctorshire, that's right. Reverse sweep, and he's hit it beautifully. Jimmy Anderson has gone for 4.
We love it. He had to come out, didn't he? He just loves it. Loves a reverse sweep.
It was only his 8th ball.
In fact, there used to be a time in his career, Jimmy, when I first played in a test match and he played, he could play a cover drive, play through the legs, he could even play a cut shot. But these days, the only shot I see him play is a sweep or reverse sweep.
He's actually played that really, really well. 197 for 9. Axar Patel beaten out past the outside edge into the gloves of Rishabh Pant. That's a terrific piece of bowling from the left arm spinner. It's funny, there's been a lot of talk about how hard it is to sweep Axar Patel, but Jimmy Anderson's just reverse swept him and now drops him into the offside and scampers off for another single. So if you can't sweep because he's tall and he gets bounced and he skids, well, just reverse sweep him.
Do you know something though? Say don't sweep him. Some of the shots today against him, the best shots have been sweeping him. You look at Ben Stokes. He tucked into a few sweeps, a couple of reverse hits, didn't he? Off Axar Patel, and now we've seen Jimmy Anderson play it well. Perhaps that's the future. You want to play Axar Patel? Reverse sweep him. Because we can't play him any other way. He's averaging 10.
It's the change of pace, the so well disguised change of pace, as well as the bounce that he gets, that makes him so difficult to
he's
sweep.
such a tall ball, good, absolutely. And the angle he comes at, he's a special bowler.
Well, here's Ashwin as 2 slips and a forward silly point. Ashwin in, bowls, opens the face of the bat, does Jimmy Anderson this time, steers it all the way along the ground into that slip cordon.
It's exciting, this 2 for 200. 2 for 200, guys.
First time in 6 innings that England would have got to 200. Can they get there? Ajinkya Rahane, Virat Kohli in the slip cordon, Shubman Gill at short leg. Here is Ashwin, bowls it, tosses it up, and it's nudged away by Jimmy Anderson out to mid-wicket into the gap there. And there's a single, an easy single. Jimmy Anderson up to 9. Jack Leach has 2. England are 199 for 9.
I told you, more likely to score quickly, Jimmy Anderson. There's no doubt about it. He prefers facing spin to seam. I would have brought the fast bowler back 100% to Jimmy.
Here is Ashwin again, bowls, fizzes past the outside edge. Good looking forward defensive shot from Leach. He's protecting the inside edge. If he gets beaten on the outside edge, fair enough, and which he was.
I think both him and Broad hate facing quick bowling. Now, it's understandable, you're getting older, your eyes are not as good.
Full toss from Ashwin, and it's slapped away through the offside for 4 by Jack Leach. Even when it's a shin-high full toss, it seems that Jack Leach doesn't always time it particularly.
Declare England, you've got
200 on the board. They're 203 for 9.
Excellent little chuckle from the England bench there. They must be listening on the commentary.
There's a really indifferent delivery from our Ashwin. It doesn't.
Well, he's got his glasses on, Jack. I don't think you need him to hit that one.
Here's Ashwin again, bowls, and Leach forward, plays in front of the pad, pushing it up towards mid-off. Leach 6, Anderson 9. England winning the toss, batting first, playing the extra batsman, and they're 203 for 9. And here is Ashwin once again, and forward comes Leach again, playing defensively.
Amazing thing is about these 2 spinners, and they're both obviously fantastic spinners, and Ashwin has done it over many years, but I think what we've seen in those last few test matches is that Axar Patel has been the one really that's been harder to face for the England batsmen. They've found it really hard to face him, haven't they? I mean, picking up 3 5-wicket hauls already, going for the 4th one in such a short period of time, it's amazing. But they've got this high quality spin, and like I say, all for Jadeja. We saw the pictures of him doing his training and running. He's going to be coming back into the one-day side. Fantastic talent they've got, India. Like I said, with the seam, spin, and with the bat.
The record number of wickets after a player's first 3 test matches is held by an Indian, a leg spinner, Narendra Hawani. Here is Axar Patel, and that one bounces, and Jimmy Anderson has to take his bottom hand off the bat as that one threatened to trap his fingers. Yeah, so Narendra Hawani took 16 wickets in his first test, and then 15 more in the next 2. Here's Axar Patel, and that one is edged down towards Ashwin at backward point. Well, short third man. They go through for another single. 204 for 9.
What's the most, Jared, in a 4-test series? Was he? How many did Harbhajan get against Australia? That first series Australia went over to India. Remember when he first came on the scene?
I think that was a 3-test series, wasn't it?
3-test series. How many wickets did he get? 40?
He got over 30.
Over 30.
Shane Warne got a lot against Sri Lanka in a series as well. Have a look.
Here is Axar Patel, and forward comes Jack Leach, playing defensively again, just with a dead bat, no run there. 204 for 9. Top scorers for England today. 55 from Ben Stokes, 46 from Dan Lawrence, and 28 from Johnny Bairstow. Here is Axar Patel. Forward comes Leach again, lunging at this one rather, reaching for it. I mean, in retirement, Muralitharan took 30 wickets in 4 3-test series. It's just 30 wickets in 3 test matches. Here is Axar Patel, inside edge from Jack Leach onto the pad, pops out harmlessly on the leg
It's good
side.
for the stats, that, isn't it, when something like that happens. Well, I wouldn't know, but
Most wickets in a 2-test series, I think, is held by Dale Steyn. He took 20. It's pushed away behind square on the leg side.
who was
And,
that boy against Zimbabwe?
No, New Zealand. New Zealand in very early summer on very green wickets at Centurion and the Wanderers.
Was that when he dislocated Craig Cummins' jaw?
No, not dislocated it. He shattered his cheekbone and needed,
It really
complete facial surgery.
It looked like they should not be on the field against Dale Steyn. That whole series, didn't it? It was incredible. That was probably him at his absolute best. I know he didn't
That was
exactly
the beginning
get
of
worse.
his absolute best.
He didn't get worse. It was just
He has been the best of
Yeah.
modern day
Oh, yeah,
bowlers. When you
easily.
talk about Jimmy Anderson, the great bowler he is, Dale Steyn, all conditions, but better bowler. Yeah, he just hadn't got the longevity or the fitness levels of
The strike rate
Jimmy
would
Anderson.
suggest.
Oh,
that,
all
yeah.
round the world,
Yeah.
Dale Steyn with the new ball, with the old ball, absolutely amazing.
The only thing I found that Anderson beat him on record-wise was against left-handers and in England, if I remember correctly.
Here is Ashwin again, and forward comes Jack Leach, pushes it down towards backward point, and there's no run there. I mean, the kind of statistics, the kind of bowling figures and totals that I sort of place in the under 12 categories or under 11 categories, that's pushed out towards mid-off. You know, the sort of, when you hear sort of stories of prep schools being bowled out for 15 and, you know, bowlers taking 8 for 4, that kind of thing. Dale Steyn used to do that, and he took 6 for 8 against Pakistan. That's defended again out into the offside, and
Not as good as Joe Root. 5 for 8, mate.
5 for 8, exactly. Yeah, I love those numbers. It just brings us all back down to earth. It's like watching a professional golfer make a 10 on a hole. It's pushed out behind square on the leg side. It just reminds us all that, you know, there is a level of humanity that we can all relate to.
Was it Ernie, South African Open at Leopard Creek? He needed just a 7 to win,
7 on the par 5 last.
and he got an 8.
Hit 2 into the water.
They had to call up the guy who was going back to get his jet off to say he'd won.
Ashwin in again. Forward comes Jack Leach. Big appeal for leg before wicket, and he's given him. Impact here will be, I think, important because Leach had done everything right. He'd gone a long way forward and appeared to be doing everything he could to get outside the line of off stump. So the appeal was upheld by Virendra Sharma, and Jack Leach has reviewed it, and why not?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. I don't think there is anything wrong with the impact.
It hit him on the
Give me
go,
a chance to
didn't it?
double check by
Yeah,
this
hit him on
course.
the go.
Yeah, and you can understand why this has been given out, to be honest.
Bad.
And I suspect
One more
that
time, one
Ravi
more time.
Chandran Ashwin will be confirmed with a third
Bad.
wicket
Yeah.
very shortly,
Ball
and
tracking, please.
England will be confirmed as having been bowled out for 205. We'll go through the process with the third umpire, Anil Chowdhury. Pitching in line, impact in line,
line.
and it wasn't turning very much. It's hitting the top of
Wicket's
middle
hitting.
and leg.
Go to one
So
finger.
Jack
Virendra.
Leach is gone.
Stay
and
with your call. You can signal. now.
Virendra
Well done.
Sharma's got the call absolutely right. England have been bowled out after winning the toss and choosing to bat first for 205, and R. Ashwin takes 3 for 47. Let's not forget, while Axar Patel has caught the headlines and certainly got us talking with 22 wickets in 5 innings, that has now given Ashwin, those 3 have given Ashwin a total of 27 in the series so far. 27, and Axar Patel has taken 22. So, I mean, it's just one-way traffic. But it's scary thought for England that they've been so out-bowled by the 2 spinners. And Axar Patel didn't play in the first Test match, if you may recall. England have been bowled out for 205, Coffee, on what we think, and you should never be too confident about what a wicket is worth and what is a par score until you've seen both sides bat. But you know, I think you called it pretty early, and you said, and Gareth Batty did as well. I suggested 300. You nodded and thought a bit more than that, and Gareth Batty said, yeah, looks like a 400 pitch, and that was quite early on. But it hasn't worked out for England, as I said earlier. A combination of generally a poor, fairly soft batting performance and an outstanding all-round bowling performance. And let's not forget that Mohammad Siraj also very impressive, 2 for 45 from 14 overs. There was pace and bounce for the seamers, and England only have, well, 1 and 3 quarters.
One and 3. He's a better bowler, Ben Stokes, than he gets credit for, but it's the lack of bowling that worries me. He's now going to have to bowl more than a few. I don't think our spinners will be able to hold the game as well as India did. And I've said from the start, I think it's a good cricket wicket, this, what we've seen so far. It was a good day to bat. England won the toss. To be out for 205 is not good enough. Not blaming the pitch, it's an absolute belter so far. It's where it should be on day one. No real dusting. A little bit in it for the seamer, a little bit in it for the spinner. If you bat well, you should be able to get runs on the board. You're looking at mid 300, would have been probably about par. England 205 not out, and now they're in a position where they've won the toss. They're out on the field on the first day with one recognised out-and-out seamer in their lineup. Now, knowing India and the way they play, they might look to get through tonight because there's not much, 10 or 12 overs or something left. But come tomorrow and they start batting, I think they'll go after one of the spinners. I think it'll be Dom Bess.
You're listening to commentary, well, we're between innings at the moment, but you're listening to commentary of the third test between India and England on TalkSport 2 with the Times and the Sunday Times. Try it for free for 1 month at thetimes.co.uk/cricket offer. Subscription auto-renews unless cancelled. Terms and conditions apply. And, well, for the next 20 minutes to review the first innings on his own terms and conditions, here's Mark Nicholas.
I'm just having a giggle to myself, actually, about Akshar Patel and wondering how Ravi Jadeja can get back into this team.
Well, he gets in instead of Sundar in their own conditions, but when they tour England, I don't think they'll be getting 3 of them in there, will they?
No.
Jadeja's
they've got enough seamers nowadays, they might only play one.
Jadeja's special.
He is a special cricketer,
so many people have doubted him over the years, but he's such a special talent, Mark. He's absolutely fantastic batsman.
I suppose you bat him at 7.
Is great. Yeah, you bat him at 7.
Ashwin at 8. And then 9, 10, 11, 3 seamers. It's 3 and 2 or 4 and 1. You either leave him out or you bat him.
Well, they've got a choice on the 3 seamers. They've got Ishant Sharma, they've got Siraj, they've got Bumrah, and Shami to come back.
There's plenty of others.
Been there, but they've got Umesh as well. But there would be the favourites in the box seat, because for me, Shami, he is their best bowler at this moment in time, alongside Bumrah.
What? Bumrah, surely.
Alongside Bumrah, absolutely.
I'd have Siraj in before Sami now, I think.
Really?
I do, yeah.
Oh, mate, I think you're underestimating how good a bowler he is.
No,
skill.
No, very highly skilled, yeah.
But Siraj, absolutely, in English conditions, I think he's going to be an handful, you know. And you remember, you've got Kumar to come back as well. We know he's mainly going to be used in one-day cricket now.
T. Natarajan 7.
They've got a lot, mate.
The left armour. There's somebody else I
Pandya,
like.
all-rounder.
The fellow who played in Australia, what's his name? Sami? No, I've had a blank, how annoying.
The left armour?
No, the left armour's T. Natarajan. There's a right arm seamer who I think played for. Who did he play for in the IPL? Anyway,
I know what you mean now.
Another good bowler.
I'll give you him in a minute. I've done quite a thing. Not Navdeep Sahni.
Yeah, Navdeep Sahni. Thanks. Yeah. So there's 7, 8 of them, just like that. Without
We've got
thinking.
A lot.
Yeah.
And that's before we see this year's IPL.
No,
there's no doubt the'll be some more seamers coming through. Which
you said this pitch was a belter. Let's have a quick chat about that, because defining a belter, it means different things to different people. A lot of people would think that a belter is just a belter to bat on.
Oh yeah, I
think this was a belter for all cricket.
Spot on.
I don't think it was dead easy to bat on, but it certainly wasn't too difficult to bat on. It offered something to everybody. If you played well, you'd make runs.
That's right. I mean by a belter. A shirt fronter, I call it's a flat. It means it's just going to benefit the batsman, right? But for this is how I want Test match cricket. I don't want roads. I really, really don't. I don't want it to be just dominated by bat. One innings 500, plays another innings 500. You want to see, if you go to India, it turning on day 3, and in the second innings someone gets an 80 or 90. It's a fantastic spectacle. It shows good skill. But you also want to see the seamers on day one of a test match with a little bit of moisture in the wicket. Not seaming and swinging round corners, but just enough to keep him interested. And what we've seen in this pitch is enough carry to keep the seamers
Absolutely,
in the
Goffey.
game. And
Spot on. Yep.
batsmen are getting value. They're getting value for their shots. And it shows when you get in. Look, the guys have got in there. Stokes, 55. It was his mistake. He played the wrong line. And he knew straight away he'd made an error. Dan Lawrence, a huge error, run down the wicket, tried to slog one over mid-wicket. These guys got in, they could have cashed in, and they didn't. I expect India, if one of the Indian players gets to 40 or 50 mark, he might just go on and get a biggie. And that's been the difference this whole series. But for me, I'd say it again,
great summing
this
up.
is the best bowling performance I've seen in this series from India. All-round bowling performance. It really is.
Very good. There's a 9th, and he begins with S, and he played in that last couple of tests in Australia. Hustling, strong guy. I think plays for Chennai. Who?
Thakur.
Sadal Thakur.
Yeah, he's an all-rounder. Yeah.
There's 9 genuine good quicks who can play for India at the moment, and none of them would disappoint. Let's run you through the card if you're just joining us. England won the toss. Joe Root chose to bat. Wasn't quite a case of hooray, but it was certainly a case of okay, first job done. Now we've got to bat well. Well, that proved to be a bit of a problem because England didn't bat very well. Zach Crawley caught Mohammad Siraj bowled Patel for 9. Dom Sibley bowled Patel for 2. Johnny Bairstow LBW bowled Siraj for 28. Bit unlucky, I thought there. The ball was just clipping the top of the stumps. On another day, get away with that. Joe Root to LBW, Mohammad Siraj for 5. Ben Stokes LBW to Washington Sundar for 55. Ollie Pope caught Shubman Gill bowled Ashwin for 29. Dan Lawrence stumped Pant bowled Patel 46. Ben Foakes called Rahane bowled Ashwin 1. Dom Bess LBW, Akshar Patel 3. Jack Leach LBW, Ashwin 7. And Anderson finished unbeaten at the end there with 10. England all out for 205, and we think they're 100 short of a score that gets them right in the game. I think at one stage we might have thought 250 because we saw a few balls start to really go through the surface and spin. I mean, the one obviously that Dan Lawrence ran down to and got him, that was an example of it. What do you think? Does
it was the start?
What does 205 do?
Well, we're in no man's land, aren't we?
Right.
We need something special now. And listen, there's enough in the pitch for one of our bowlers to do something special. Now, what I would have liked to have seen is an extra seamer now. Now, Jimmy Anderson, these conditions, the ball carrying, there might be a little bit of movement with the new ball. He gets nicked, still will carry. We've seen he's such an highly skillful bowler. He's going to be excited by these conditions to bowl with a new ball more than he has been the whole series. So we've got him in our lineup. But we're going to need Ben Stokes to bowl a few overs with a new ball, which, let's be honest about it, it's not ideal. One of our all-rounders, if Sam Curran would have been there, he would have been playing. Absolutely, and batting 7.
Or Chris Woakes.
And if Chris Woakes would have been there, he would have been playing. But they're not there, so they've gone for an extra batsman in this game as security. And now we're a seamer short because we only got 205.
It's annoying, isn't it?
Very annoying. I've been annoyed throughout it all. Yeah, we'll have our best team available for Owen Morgan and the one-day boys. They're all playing the PlayStations and Xboxes.
Could be the name of a play.
In isolation now, in quarantining for the one-day series, but they're not there for the test matches. I've been annoyed from the start of it. Absolutely fuming. And I'm sure Joe Root is, but he ain't going to tell me.
Well, I don't suppose Joe Joe will buy into what the selectors have worked on, and so too the coach. So I'm sure that Chris Silverwood, Joe Root, Ed Smith, James Taylor have all worked together on planning this out over a year that takes England to the Ashes in Australia. And perhaps if they look back, they might think that they haven't nailed it, and that if they could have the India tour again, they'd do some things differently.
Well, the one-day series, for me, why are they playing the best team in the one-day series?
In
why?
The T20s particularly, you mean, the 5 T20s.
And the 350 other. Why? Play an experimental team in that, because the other guys are still going to go to the IPL mark and play 10 weeks in those conditions, and they've still got another 10 T20s before the World Cup.
Well, presumably Owen Morgan wants the top T20 players out because he's got a T20 World Cup in the autumn.
There's loads of fixtures before then.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's too strong a focus on the T20, but if I can well imagine what Owen's saying if he's listening. But
well, he better win it. That's what a lot of people will be saying. Better win it from it. With a good chance of winning it, by the way. Got
very
some good
well.
players.
A fantastic side. I mean, a lot of talent. Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill are the two batsmen out in the middle. It's Shubman Gill who takes guard against James Anderson, who's had a shave. And here we go. And he bowls him a full floaty outswinger that Shubman Gill blocks to mid-on for no run. The shiny ball hung in the air rather there, and nothing comes of it. Anderson is crucial here. A couple of strikes with a new ball will just do wonders for England's morale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stevie Harmison's in.
Absolutely, Mark. Yeah, I've just sort of jumped on the back of Darren Goff's rant there, and yeah, I agree with him in some aspects from a selection point of view. Don't agree with him Wokes, because I don't think Wokes, Anderson and Broad, 2 out of the 3 would play on the same side. But there, Jimmy, 100%. England need their premier fast bowler to stand up and take a couple of poles.
Here he comes now, Anderson. He bowls a very good straight ball, but Shubman Gill has all the time in the world to play it. There's no great pace there from Anderson, so there's no hurry up as there was against Mohammad Siraj and to some degree Ishant Sharma earlier in the day. You wouldn't have Wokes with Anderson, even if he was playing as the all-rounder.
I just think if you go off the last 3-4 years overseas, England have struggled with, say, a Broad and Anderson can't play on the same side. Well, if you've got that, I think Wokes comes into that category. Yes, you've got his batting, but I don't believe you could play 2 seamers in this game. Being
should be Archer, really.
Wokes
and they say he wasn't fit with his elbow injury. 3 slips in the gully for Anderson as he comes in. Bowls a good ball. That isn't so far away. Has it held his line enough? Yes, says the umpire. Virender Sharma has given Shubman Gill out. Now they're going to review it, I'm sure, and it'll be a question of whether this ball is clipping leg stump. It's very tight. It's a brave call by the umpire, a strong appeal by England. Could we have the perfect start in response to being bowled out cheaply here?
Out, fair delivery. Front on, please.
There's a little bit of nip back by Jimmy, just holding the seam to go away. Just a little bit of nip back. He's bowled straight, didn't really swing, and it's just height, I think, if anything else. Has it nipped down? It's hit him on the knee roll.
Close to the ball.
Yeah, knee roll, so height-wise it could well be okay. It's about leg stump for me. Is it clipping leg stump or not? Is it clipping the top right-hand corner of that set of 3 as we look at it on TV? That's the question.
And it's been given out, so it's just got a clip.
That's right.
It's just got a clip.
Yeah, that's one of the things people forget, this extra half ball now. And effectively you're getting a lot more of the stumps. A third of the stumps really is if you take 3.5 centimetres either side and 3.5 on the top. Now then, yes, umpire's call it is. It's clipping the outside corner of leg stump. The decision is spot on, at least backed by the technology, and so it stands. Shubman Gill is out to James Anderson, and India are none for 1.
What a start for England, what a start for Anderson. When you need your big player to stand up, only playing 1 out-and-out seamer. How, boy, does he need to use that new ball well, and he did. Not too dissimilar, Mark, I think, to the Joe Root decision in the 3rd Test match. First innings, ball just nipped back, hit the top of the leg stump, and it stayed with the on-field decision of umpire's call.
Yes, very good call. Yes, I hear what you say about Anderson, but I'll tell you, he's got to use a new ball well.
Oh, Stokes.
Ben Stokes.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we kind of take it as a given with Anderson. But if Ben Stokes can fire, have one of those days, because when Ben Stokes fired a hard new ball here, if he can come steaming in off the back of his 55 runs and threaten the stumps, that's what he's got to do. He didn't want to waste too many balls. He threatens the stumps, something will happen. There's enough there, a little swing, a little seam, enough to keep a quick bowler excited.
The challenge for Ben would be how many times has he bowled with the brand new ball, because it has a coat and a lacquer on, and some people don't find it easy to bowl with.
Well,
the
he's
new ball.
bowled with it when it's been the second new ball.
Yes,
and he's bowled very well with it. I don't know whether he's taken the new ball for England. He probably has somewhere along the line. Anyway, you're listening to our commentary of the 4th Test between India and England. We're on TalkSport 2 with the Times and the Sunday Times cricket team, and their coverage, of course, led by former England captains Mike Atherton and Sir Alistair Cook. Well, Cheteshwar Pujara then on strike to James Anderson. Still 3 slips in the gully, and he plays forward defensively. Anderson on that probing line, asking the batsman questions all the time. Does it swing away? Does it nip back? He's just done Shubman Gill. LBW for no score. A tight call that went the way of England. They needed one to go their way. Just the boost. Wow, come out of the dressing room and that happened. Anderson still lean, still young at heart, still able to cause problems in opposing dressing rooms. Bangs it into the surface. Pujara goes back and defends on the back foot. 5 balls in this first over gone. Anderson wipes his brow. It's a hot day in Ahmedabad. A murmur from the crowd, a very small crowd today, disappointingly small crowd today. A murmur of concern probably from those Indian supporters that are here. We've seen some English supporters too, who are part of the British High Commission by all accounts. As so often before, it's James Anderson who struck for England, defending 205. That's all England made in their first innings. Anderson again. Pujara leaves alone around off stump, wisely so too, because it did move a little. The end of the first over, and in response to a pretty ordinary batting performance, not for the first time, Stephen Harmison, James Anderson has held his hand up.
Absolutely perfect for England. Stood there and said, right, over to the steam bowler, which is the man who has got 600 test match wickets. And he stood up and he said, right, I'm going to get the wicket. And he did it, and he did it beautifully. There was a little bit of shape first ball, not as much second ball, and then when you are holding the seam to go away from the outside of the right-handers off stump, when it just nips, and it's the way the seam is produced, it can just get that nip which nips back in towards off stump, and that's what it did for Shubman Gill. But spare a thought, penny for Shubman Gill's thoughts. We've just seen him on the screen there, and you could put Shubman Gill in the England batters category, because when things are going against you, them decisions go against you.
This is the first time that Ben Stokes has ever taken the new ball for England.
But he would have bowled with a new ball. Second new ball, I'd guess. Anyway, here he comes to bowl to Rohit Sharma. Oh, he bowls him a full toss, and thankfully Sharma hits it straight to mid-off, and the fielding is safely done, not without a tumble, but it's safely done, so there's no run from it.
I think he took the second new ball at Headingley, I think, in the Jack Leach partnership when he came on at the end, and I think he took the second new ball at Cape Town when we were in Cape Town.
That's the one I remember.
Did, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Cape
second
Town.
new ball, yeah, definitely. I'll have a look. I'm sure he's probably done it for Durham, I would have thought.
Anyway, it slipped out of his hand and been a full toss first up. Here he comes again. And that's a wide swinging delivery left alone by Rohit Sharma. You will get a bit of everything from Stokes. You don't get the consistency you get from Anderson, understandably, but you do get some magic balls as well. He's taken 159 test match wickets in 71 games, and amongst those are 4 5-wicket hauls, so he's much more than just useful. Well, he's breathtaking when he's on, really. He can do great things with the ball, and he can be quick. Here he comes again, and Rohit Sharma's back and defends back down the pitch, but in fact it rolls towards mid-on. I have to say that Rohit Sharma's got as much time to play as anybody I've seen. If you think of the sort of greats of the modern era who made batting look easy, David Gower would be an obvious one, Mark Waugh would be another, Mahela Jayawardene would be another, Babar Azam would be another. We'll think of more for sure, but I think he's right up there as Rohit Sharma as he goes on the back foot, gets a thick edge just outside of the reach of gully, and 4 runs, the first on the board for India.
This is what you get with Ben Stokes. He will be expensive, there's no doubt, he always is, but can he pick a wicket up? I totally agree. I think Rohit Sharma is one of the most stylish batsmen there is out there on the circuit now, or possibly ever. You talk about timing, but he's in sync movements are absolutely beautiful, and when he's balanced and he's on, he's devastating. And just see Ben's frustration. We've got as well.
It's a straight ball, work to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Sorry, Hami.
Sorry, that was my fault. Sorry, Mark. We've got to remember as well, Ben has been one of the ones that's poorly, Mark. There's been a few sickness, few players gone down with sickness. A lot of the management has gone down with sickness, but Ben Stokes was one of them, and I think I don't think he was touch and go for this Test match, but there was a concern of how strong he was going into this morning.
Stokes again. Bouncer flies wide of off stump, and the end of his first over. That wasn't really the one thing I did point out, was we want him to make the batsman play as often as possible, but hopefully he'll find some rhythm. Jared, over to you.
So this is the third time in first-class cricket he's ever bowled with the new ball. He's done it twice for Durham. I've found 4 T20s where he's done it, and 6 limited overs games where he's done it. So this is only the 13th time in his entire professional career that he's ever taken the new ball.
But you mean the new ball at the start of the innings?
I do, yeah, specifically mean at the start.
I mean, it would be worthwhile to know that he'd taken it, which we're sure he has during an innings, in other words, the second new ball. It's over to Andrew McKenna.
Wow. Lively start to the second innings of this game then. India 4 for 1, and here comes Anderson. 3 slips waiting, little bit of shape on that. Pujara though is playing bat and pad close together and pushing out on the onside, and there is no run. Pujara settling in, getting into his batting. Of course, had a very good first match of the series, 73 and 15, 21 and 7 in the second, and then a Norton didn't bat in the third. He's solidly forward to Anderson as the third over continues. England posting 205 in their first innings after losing 5 for 39 in 87 balls to end off the innings there.
Macca, someone's just tweeted me to say, James Smith, to say Ben Stokes used to have the most wickets for any seamer never to have taken the new ball. So sadly, that has now ended.
Draws line through that one. Anderson has taken a lot of wickets with the new ball, and he's in once again. It's outside of off stump. Pujara raises the bat high into the sky, and it's through to Ben Foakes. Didn't get through that quickly and that high, and Foakes actually sort of takes that one down by his bootstraps, but take it he does. So England bowled out in 75 overs and 5 balls. We take off 2 for the changeover, and we're in the third over. It means that there are 9 overs left in the day after this. What kind of impression can India make? Oh, it's a beauty from Anderson. Bit of bounce, cuts back as well. Foakes takes it just going down the leg side as it jags back to the right-hander. I'll ask you that question then, Harmy. In the remaining time, what would England be happy with, and what would India be happy with?
Oh, I think India would be happy to walk off now, 1 down, and say thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow when the sun comes back out. England would love to have that man out on the screen there now. Pujara, see if they can get Kohli in. Nervous 5-10 minutes for the Indian captain.
Anderson goes in. Pujara's playing very solidly forward to that, plays it up to mid-off, and there's no run. He's got 0 from 8 deliveries. Rohit with 4 from 6.
It might not be a bad time. We talk about Ben Stokes and if he's comfortable bowling, whether he is comfortable or he's not comfortable bowling with a new ball. You get 1 more over, and then say 4 overs of spin from one end might not be a bad shout for England. See if they can get Jack Leach into play with the new ball, the lacquer on it, and might just skid on and see if he can bring LBW, that front pad, into play.
Anderson goes in, and from the crease, Pujara's up on his toes, dropping this into the onside. 3 overs gone here on TalkSport 2. India 4 for 1. Replying to that, England 205. The top scorer, Ben Stokes, the only man to pass 50. Dan Lawrence got close, he got 46, but was stumped by Rishabh Pant as he tried to bring up 50, playing a big shot away to the leg side off of Akshar, and he made 46, as I say. The only other man who there were 2 who've got into the 20s. Pope got 29, Bairstow 28, and essentially that was all she wrote. Akshar 4 for 68 from 26, 3 for 47 from Ashwin, 2 for 45 from Siraj were the wicket takers for India. So here comes Stokes then for his second over. He's bowling at the Reliance end and brings Rohit Sharma forward, and there is no run. Ben regards himself as a batsman who bowls, isn't he? Because although you have all-rounders, Harmy, Andrew Flintoff always felt that he was a batsman who bowled, but he was better than that. Would you say, where do you think the balance is with Ben?
Yeah, I think they're all batsmen who bowls. I think that's the key from an all-rounder point of view.
Stokes in from the creases. Rohit playing it to mid-on, no run.
I think they all like the reason why they are great players and the great all-rounders is because they fancy themselves in either side, batting in competition and bowling in competition. I think Ben Stokes' batting was more superior to Andrew Flintoff's, but Andrew Flintoff bowling was obviously more superior to what Ben's is. But that's not to say Ben doesn't take his bowling seriously. He works as hard on his bowling as he does on his batting.
Stokes is in once again, and Rohit Sharma is playing from the crease, and there's no run.
And Freddie was the same. Andrew was the same. Andrew would work just doubly as hard on his batting as he did on his bowling. And that's why they're so valuable to have. If you've got a great all-rounder in your side, and England would have been blessed with 2 or 3 over my lifetime and the generations that I've had, or three at least, that stand out. The balance of the side is so much easier to get players in if you've got somebody that bats and bowls.
Stokes is in. Rohit Sharma from the crease just dropping it into the offside, and there is no run. Just to pick up that Ben Stokes earlier had an upset stomach, but not affecting him in terms of bowling. The other bit of medical news from out of the England camp today is that the reason Jofra Archer isn't playing in this is due to his ongoing right elbow problem, which you have to assume is quite serious now, because Jofra Archer, if you remember, played in the first test of this series, was then left out of the second because of his elbow, played in the third and bowled the grand total of 5 overs. As Stokes bowls to Rohit, turned on the onside, no run. So after 5 overs in the game, the issue has flared up again and he's unable to play in this match. That strikes me as concerning.
Yes, the injury is concerning. Other things that could be concerning is, from a test match point of view, the longevity of a game. Is that the issue? Is that the problem? Repetitive coming back and back and back, and 4 overs might just be enough for him.
Stokes is in, and Rohit Sharma is playing now full ball out on the onside, no run to end the 4th over here on TalkSport 2. India 4 for 1. Carry on, Harm.
And I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all, or saying that he doesn't want to play Test cricket and he'd rather just play one-day cricket or 2020 cricket. Just think in the way his elbow might be at this moment in time, is that a 20-over game, 4 overs, he'll feel his elbow might feel as though he can get through that, but actually having to potentially come and bowl 15-20 overs in an innings and come back and do it again the following day or 2 days later, that would be a problem, a risk, and a long-term risk moving forward. So I don't think he wasn't in contention for this. I think Mark Wood was the one that was going to be the other seamer that was potentially playing, him or Ollie Stone. We've got a little break of play while Jimmy Anderson changes. I think he's changing his left boot.
He's just put an ankle support on. He's got a big black Velcro and presumably strapping combination. So
he always wears that, to be fair. Sorry, Matt, to cut you off. He does always wear that. It's not something new for Jimmy. Jimmy does always wear that, whether he's actually either put the wrong one on because he'll have 2 or 3. Jimmy always wears an ankle strap on his left ankle. I know what it feels like. I used to wear them as well, and they're very good because they've gone to the days of high cut bowling boots. You've gone to low cut shoes, so just need a little bit extra support on that front foot.
Well, he's on his way, and he will bowl, and there's good carry on that one through to wicketkeeper Vern Folks, as Pujara has nothing to do with that one. And I suppose after the problems with the footholds in the last Test match as well, there's another reason to be absolutely sure. He's readjusting it again. He's just bowled that one delivery since making the adjustment that he needed to. And he's obviously, it's one of those things, I imagine, Harmy, that when you get it right, you don't feel it at all. But when it's not quite right, it feels like someone's putting pins in. It can
be uncomfortable when you're wearing them. It can be uncomfortable if you haven't got it strapped on properly. And I think that's the issue. They're also a pain in the backside, because sometimes you erode in the actual side bits. If they get in, they cut into your ankle, cut into your foot.
Ooh. That does sound painful. Anderson in once again, and Pujara leaves this alone, and it's through to Folks, and there's no run.
But there's no problem there with Jimmy. There's no issue in why he's using it. He's using it solely out of support. Jimmy's always been quite light on his feet. Jimmy's always bowled in low cut shoes. Stuart's always bowled in higher cut shoes. I was the same. Goffey was the same. Goffey wore a bowling boot. I always wear a bowling boot. But Jimmy's always wear trainers. He always had trainers with a leather sole on the bottom. Now they've got more the manufacturers have custom made a pair of shoes for him, and the low cut ones.
He goes in, and Pujara solidly behind this one, pushing up to mid-on, where Dan Lawrence will field, and there is no run. Yeah, Anderson is bowling. He has a wicket already to his name in this game. A wicket that takes him to a small matter of 612. And England are looking for another one before the close this evening. Pujara's batting out of his crease, about 5 or 6 centimetres outside of his crease, tapping his bat, waiting as Anderson goes in, and he's very solidly forward to that again, just defending up to mid-on, and there is no run.
I think Pujara will be looking to try and smother the swing, trying to get out to the ball, not be worried about too much pace-wise of Jimmy Anderson, and not be worried about the short ball. Jimmy, not only does Jimmy not bowl many short balls, but at Jimmy's pace, there's no real point. So Pujara will be trying to get out there to get and smother the swing, and if the ball nips back, will it be far enough down the wicket from an LBW possibility?
Anderson goes in, and Pujara's just playing this from the crease, drops it down at his toes. It then bounces and skids its way back towards Anderson, and he uses his right boot to stop it and then flick it up to his hands.
Jimmy he'll be bowled a lot at Pujara. 14 balls now Pujara's faced, and he hasn't managed to get off strike. And Jimmy will be conscious that the day is now in the end, and he'll be wanting to get Rohit Sharma down. He'll be wanting to get the best player down there on his end to hopefully try and make that breakthrough, especially while he's got the juices flowing, the legs are pumping, he's got a wicket.
He's got 3 slips and a gully waiting as well, as Pujara plays a good leave. He threatened to play the ball and then actually raised the bat as he was thinking about making his way forward towards it, and then raises the bat above his head, and that will end the over. 4 for 1 are India after 5 overs here on TalkSport, so, replying to England's 205, and it's the 4th test between India and England on TalkSport 2 with the Times and the Sunday Times. You can try it for free for a month at thetimes.co.uk/cricket offer. That subscription does auto-renew unless it is cancelled. If you want to read the full terms and conditions, then go to the Times website and you can check all of those out. Don't forget, of course, I kind of lose track of days with the cricket at the moment, but it is Thursday, which means we're getting close to another weekend, and Saturday game day on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. 5 more exclusive national radio football commentaries coming up over the Premier League and the EFL. The Saturday's exclusive games includes Burnley Arsenal, Aston Villa Wolves and Brighton Leicester. Get the TalkSport app and you can just flick between TalkSport and TalkSport 2 and choose which commentary you want. And we have a change. Ben Stokes, as we thought, give it a bit of a go, see how things went, to the tune of 2 overs, and Jack Leach for some left arm spin. Harmy is coming in.
Yeah, and it's a good move by England for me. You'll get 3, possibly 4 overs. Newer ball with a little bit of lacquer on, ball just skidding on. Jack will be hoping for the little bit of natural variation. One of the first 3 or 4 balls, if he can get it to turn, and all of a sudden he's in the game, because is it going to turn, or if it does hit the shiny side, doesn't hit the seam, it just goes on with the arm, front pad in the way. That's what Jack Leach will be telling himself, as well as the England wicketkeeper, who's barking out instructions at this minute in time.
So Jack Leach then to Rohit Sharma, left arm around, he's got a slip and a short leg, man on the drive at short extra cover. Leach in, round the wicket, it spins and bounces, but from too wide. It was already wide outside of off stump, and it spun further wide, but it just gave Rohit Sharma a sight that the England spinner is going to be able to turn it just as much as the Indian ones.
Yeah, not a bad thing there by Jack Leach. He got it up, bowled it a bit flatter, but it got it the ball to turn,
Leach goes in, that's straighter, and it turns. Rohit almost gets squared up. There's a little bit of a yes-no as Pujara is offering to come from the 9 strikers end. Gets sent back, and there is no run. The other thing about this, Harmy, is we all know that Rohit Sharma prefers to bat in terms of play his shots, and therefore fiddling around for 3 or 4 overs might just play on his mind a little bit. It'd be interesting to see how he approaches this. So again, another good reason to get Leach in and see how he goes. That one's roundabout off stump. Rohit does not move his feet at all. It is all hand-eye coordination to get that out to Zach Crawley on the cover boundary. I imagine there's an awful lot of people who've coached kids down the years would be pulling their hair out of that, saying, well, you've got to move your front foot towards the pitch. Didn't move a muscle other than his arms. It was all hand-eye.
It's all about hitting the ball, Mac. It's all about hitting the ball, keeping it out and hitting the ball, and he looks in sublime touch at this minute in time. Rohit Sharma, he's off the back of a decent series so far. So Mark mentioned earlier the time that he looks, it's just effortless sometimes when he's batting. But this, for me, is a good move, because not only do they get Pujara on strike, if you can keep him on strike, you got Rohit on strike when Jimmy comes on at the other end.
5 for 1 India as Pujara comes down and takes a half of pace towards that, turns it into a half volley, will clip it through mid-wicket. Don Best will go, and Fields, they will take a couple, and he almost manages to overthrow Ben Foakes there actually, but the wicketkeeper takes it going backwards. So India go to 7 for 1 with 2 balls of the over to go.
Challenge for Leach here is to not only get his length right, but get his speed right at that length. We've seen Jack Leach bowl. When he bowls, he tries to bowl that little bit fuller, he floats it. When he bowls it a bit faster, he drags it down. And with no turn and he dragging it down, that could be comfortable for the batsman to milk him, but also wait for the one off the back foot and look and search for the boundary.
Leach around the wicket to Pujara. Pujara is back cutting. It goes to a point where it's fielded and there is no run. Pujara's got 2 from 17. He's actually faced more balls than Rohit Sharma now. He's faced 17. Rohit's only faced 15. England have a square leg mid-wicket, extra cover and mid-off. Pujara very nearly walked past that one. He just took a half pace down just to try and meet it on the half volley, turn it on the onside, and Leach has got it to spin just enough that Pujara got really squared up by that one and ends up playing it back down the pitch to the bowler. Well bowled, Jack Leach. 6 overs gone India, 7 for 1 here on TalkSport 2.
That's what Jack's got to be looking for. Not only was the length good, the length good, but the speed was good. Excellent trajectory through the air, landed it in a perfect spot, in the round sort of middling off, turned a little bit, but that's the sort of length that will keep Pujara in the crease. But also, if one just skids on from there, it brings the LBW and the umpire into play.
11 wickets in the day on the first day of a test match. It now means, out of the 12 days we've had play in this test series, 6 days have had 10 or more wickets fall on them.
I think that tells you everything about the batting in this series, because on this wicket, 11 wickets in a day, yes, it's been entertaining, but a lot of it has been down to poor judgment, poor decision making, poor shot selection and poor execution when it comes to batting. I think England batters will be disappointed when they look back at that this morning.
Anderson is in to start a new over. It's just slightly back of a good length. Rohit Sharma's playing it sort of waist high, just jumping in behind this, and drops it into the onside for no run.
This is what Jimmy will be looking for. The last few overs of a day's play, ball just bounced off back of a length, just sat up a little bit, sat in the surface. Whether that is the newness of the ball or the newness of the seam, But Jimmy will be looking to push Rohit Sharma back there, and then you'll be looking at going up for the kill, whether he's aiming at cantering the seam in towards the front pad or taking it away towards slip.
Anderson in once again. Rohit Sharma's just looks like he was a little bit hurried on that occasion, in behind it and defence, with no real alarm, it has to be said, but he pushes back down the pitch and there is no run. India 7 for 1. We're in the 7th over. They're certainly not breaking any speed records in terms of batting. They don't have to. They've done their work today, bowling England out for just 205. And it's now about settling in and building up a score and trying to ensure they have a place in the World Test Championship final come the end of it. Anderson is in, and that one jags back off the seam. It's outside of Rohit's off stump, so he doesn't have to play a shot at it. But from where it pitched and to where Ben Foakes took it, Ben Foakes is obviously standing a good few yards back behind the stumps, there was a big old difference. It's hit the seam and jagged back a long way.
Yeah, that was the natural variation that you get off this surface. The seam was heading towards, was shaped for the away swinger. It was wanting to go away, but because the way it was shaped and going, it just hit the corner of the seam and it naturally nipped back.
Anderson is in, and Rohit's playing this one-handed. A ball that sort of bounced up chest high. He was looking to play a shot off of the back foot, and the bottom hand came off the back completely. It was safely played down into the covers, and there's no run. But that ball ended up, well, it's on the maker's name sticker, right up at the splice where the handle joins the rest of the bat, and that's certainly got a bit big on Rohit Sharma.
It did, and Jimmy's looking in. Jimmy's just got, I think he's got these Indian batsmen where he wants them now. He's good pressure.
Anderson in. Rohit, now that's a more solid defensive shot. Stride into the ball, covering up, and there is no run.
Good pressure, 3.5 overs. He's not gone for a run yet off Jimmy Anderson. He's got the one wicket. Bowled it nicely. He shaped most things in towards the right-handers off stump. The one or two that he has tried to go away and shape away, there has been a natural variation where it's just jagged back. But a lot of it has been back of a length. A lot of it has been played off the back foot and around about waist high. And Anderson might just be setting it one up for the one on the front foot.
Anderson goes in to finish the over. Rohit Sharma's in behind that. And there is no run. End of the over. It's TalkSport 2. India 7 for 1. Harmy's moving out. Goffey's coming in, and he's going to fill the void as I get out of the way, so Neil Manthorpe can take you through to the close of play. Goffey.
Yeah, excellent from Jimmy Anderson. I won't expect anything less. I mean, he's been excellent. His lines, his pace has been up there. He's testing the batsman's technique, as you would expect. He's blowing a bit, though, now as he's walking back down. Probably to fine leg. The overs are coming quick and fast now. Where's he now? 38? Getting on a little bit now and got a spinner on at the other end.
How many times did you start a spell with 4 straight maidens?
Not me.
Yeah.
I would say that was a rare thing.
How many times did you ever bowl 4 maidens in a row?
I honestly don't know. I know I did it in one test. I'm trying to think where it was. But I've done it a couple of times in county cricket. But a lot of that, you can hide the new ball. You can hide it out there. So... you know what I mean? If it's swinging, you just hide it out there. The batsman won't play a shot. I always wanted to bowl at the wickets, so I risk going for runs. There's a difference.
Oh, I know that. You never pretended to be bowling for dot balls,
I don't bowl
you?
for maidens, no, I bowl for wickets.
Yeah.
Just the mentality.
Jack Leach now to continue to Cheteshwar Pujara. 7 overs, India 7 for 1 in reply to England's 205 all out. I know that Gareth Batty doesn't, he genuinely is not a stats man, doesn't remember specific numbers, but I wonder if there any particularly eye-wateringly lean spell that you bowled, economical spell that comes to mind? Did you ever sort of bowl 5 or 6, 8 maidens in a spell? That's flipped away very nicely off his toes, slightly too full from Jack Leach, and it'll just be 2. Pujara didn't try to hit that at all, really, just pushed it through mid-wicket for a couple.
No, I was always happy when I wasn't picking it out of the stand, so I just took a lot of heart from that. Didn't really get to the maiden part of it.
But there would have been many occasions when that was your job, where you must have felt quite very satisfied when you just had to completely lock up an end.
Were there many maidens when Lara got his big score? Just wondered. I mean, I didn't play in that game. I just wondered.
I think I only went for about 50 off the rest of the team, and Lara took me for about 400 or something stupid.
Seriously?
Yeah, he took me for over 100, I think.
Wow.
Leach again to Pujara, pushes that one up towards mid-off.
Mind, he took one for a few as well. That was. Do you remember that innings? Was it Antigua that? When he just kept smashing one. Oh my word!
I think they're all at either Antigua or the famous
or Barbados.
The recreation ground. Forward comes Pujara once more to Leach, and pushes that one straight back down the pitch.
He needs some runs, Pujara, doesn't he? He's a bit short of runs this series for someone who did so well. He batted so well in Australia. He's just not got going.
I think you need to, with Pujara, you need to count the balls he faces as well as the runs that he scores to get a full value idea of his worth. And that's pushed up towards mid-wicket again. This time it's intercepted by Zach Crawley, and there's no run.
To be fair, though, he's not had the best last two pitches, not been the best for anybody to score runs on. So if you missed out on the first one, the second and third pitches were a lottery. They really were. I know Rohit Sharma got a massive one in that 161, but they did bat first on that pitch.
Is that still the innings of the series?
Oh, absolutely. There's nobody got close. That's better than Joe Root's innings.
He got close with his 60 in the last test. But that's pushed away behind square on the offside once more. In fact, it's intercepted at point, and there's no run.
I'll tell you what would be interesting to ask him himself, because I mean, a man who's got double hundreds in 2020 one days and all sorts of stuff, how good and how highly he rated that knock, because I would say it's got to be top 5 knocks of his career.
It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable knock.
Leach, and that one is chopped away behind square for a couple. In fact, it's going all the way to the boundary. That was timed far, far better than I thought it was initially. Well, you're talking about the 161. Yeah, that was a very, very special innings. But given the context of the last Test match and how low scoring it was, and that it was over in 2 days, I wonder how highly he would rate his 66 in the first innings there for India. I mean, you know, it doesn't look nearly as glittery on the scorecard.
Didn't he say that the pitch was quite easy to bat on?
Can you imagine that?
I love how he said that.
There was this one time at Bandcamp, I got 66, and it was a brilliant. I don't think you'll be talking about that 66, Manners. The 161, absolutely, I'm with you 100%. That was just. It was an unbelievable innings. It was fantastic in those conditions.
I just think England bowled poorly to him as well. 161, didn't they?
It's still good batting.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying.
When the pitch was dusting, even on day one, it was still a fantastic, and it was a match-winning knock.
We may well look back in years to come and think it was a series-winning knock in many ways as well. Jimmy Anderson once again to Rohit Sharma, nicely behind the line of this one, pushes it up towards mid-on. India are 13 for 1 in reply to England's 205 all out. There was it wasn't just an article. It was a booklet. It was almost a thesis written, I think, ghosted on behalf of Sunil Gavaskar, in which he describes his best innings at that stage. He just got to 30 Test hundreds, and I think in third place was an innings of 72. So it wasn't even 100. That's pushed away defensively by Rohit once again, and he just said it was. But it was against New Zealand. Both teams were being bowled out for 100. It was a wet, sticky wicket. Nobody else made 20. He made 72. He's been third place.
I tell you, did you hear what he said today on commentary?
No.
One of the things he said was he said proper test of skill, batting and getting runs in India. Yet playing in South Africa, Australia, and England, you've got to have courage.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous statement.
I know.
Is it not a test of skill, batting in English conditions?
Well, is courage not a skill? Here's Jimmy Anderson again, full and wide outside the off stump, and it's left alone, taken by Ben Foakes.
Or going to Australia and the ball's flying through at the whack. It's a test of your technique, courage, and your skill. It's all three. It's just ridiculous. So that's it. We're just basically defending the pitches again, what we've had the last two. This is more like a test wicket, isn't it? What you'd expect in India conditions. Might do a little bit with the new ball, a little bit of bounce, carry. It gets slower as the game goes on.
And it will be turning a lot by day 3.
And that's a test wicket.
Yeah. Anderson up to the crease once again, and that's pushed away by Rohit Sharma. Again defended up towards mid-wicket. And there's no run. He's still yet to concede. He's yet to concede a run, Jimmy Anderson. 26 balls now.
It's how England have to go about this innings, though. They have to attack and defend in the same breath. They have to be so miserly with the runs conceded.
Well, he's going to have to bowl 45 overs then, Jimmy Anderson. Who else is going to do it?
Well, I mean, England have they've got the 3 spinners with Joe Root as the 3rd spinner. Here is Anderson once again, and it's driven straight back to him, and he fields it by sticking out his left hand in the end in his follow through. Do either of you think that England got they clearly got the team wrong in the last Test match. They misread that pitch terribly. Have they done so in equal proportion again this time?
Absolutely, Myers. And the only reason we got the team wrong is because our 2 all-rounders were at home. Well, Sam Curran couldn't get back there because of flight issues apparently, but he's there now quarantining for the one-dayers. And Chris Woakes was his turn to go home after sitting playing on his PlayStation and listening to music for 6 months.
Anderson in once more. It's full and just wide enough again for it to be left alone. So actually, Goffey's right. Chris Woakes could have been really a force in this.
I
test.
said it after the last one. Chris Woakes was the first name I put down. Asked to come in for the last test, and then I saw 2 days later, but he's going home. He actually texted me because I said he would have played, and he texted me. He said I wouldn't have played in a month of Sundays. That's what he said in the text. He's at home, so he said that's another reason he came back. He would have played. He'd have batted at 7. He'd have batted at 7 and been a second seamer. And Sam Curran would have been there. He would have played. Sam Curran would have played in this Test match. He got told he was going to be playing in the 4th Test. He would have played.
But you can only select on the people that are available for selection. So if we're going to selecting for this game, I don't think they've got it badly wrong, because they went with an extra batter, knowing that runs are going to be a premium, just because we haven't batted maybe as well as we would have hoped.
Knowing they were going to win the toss?
Hang on, Bats, I don't understand.
Knowing they were going to win the toss,
If
Bats.
Jofra Archer is not playing because he's ongoing elbow injury, surely that's why Ollie Stone and Mark Wood are there. Surely. Here is Jack Leach, and that is inside edge. He used his feet, did Cheteshwar Pujara, got almost to the pitch of it, and it just went on, hit the inside half of the bat and scurried away for a single.
They've got away with it a little bit because they won the toss. If we would have lost the toss and we would have had one seamer and we saw the ball carrying like it did for that first 3-4 hours, we would have all been talking about it proper. They got it wrong with one seamer. And Ben Stokes, who we've seen at the minute, is not fit enough or strong enough with his body to be bowling, especially with the new ball in his hand. That's why the spinner's on so quick.
The Indian seamers bowled beautifully this morning. They've got 2 wickets out of 8. So have England got it right? I'd say they're not a million miles away.
Oh, mate, he looked dangerous. There were a big 2 wickets he got.
Yeah, but they bowled beautifully. That's what I'm saying. But it's still only 2 wickets. 8 have gone to spin.
Here is Jack Leach, and that one is steered away towards cover point. Well, Bats, I mean, yes, okay, measure your own players against the opposition, but if there was that pace and bounce and a bit of seam movement, then you would hopefully be saying, well, if Mohammad Siraj and Ishant Sharma got that much pace and movement and assistance, then here's Leach again and punched off the back foot once more to the sweeper on the cover boundary. That's tidied up by Zach Crawley, and they go through for another one. Then, it wasn't like Mohammad Siraj was lucky and had a couple caught, at deep mid-wicket.
Bowled beautifully, but what I'm saying is both captains wanted to win the toss and bat. You pick a team to go about your position A, and if you get into plan B, then you adapt and you go with it.
What, one seamer?
Well, they've not. They've gone with 2, haven't they? Stokes is a seamer.
Here's Leach once again, and that one is a thick outside edge. That turned just enough to get the outside half of the bat. Jimmy Anderson escorts the ball down to the boundary triangles, and they go through for another couple. India 18 for 1. Couple of overs left after this one in the day's play.
Yeah, so what you do, but I get what you're saying, but you cover your bases, and if you've got 2 quality all-rounders, which we did have which are not there. So on selection for this game, they've obviously thought, but it's going to be similar to last week's pitch, and seamers are not going to bowl. But we've seen it's had nice carry, and Jimmy Anderson's looking dangerous.
Here's Leach again, and Rohit Sharma forward smothers the spin, 18 for 1.
If you're looking over the period of the 5 days of the Test match, who is going to be most valuable if they perform at their level?
Second
you might
innings.
get first innings. Your seamer might get you a couple of poles, say. But if your extra batter batting at 7 gets you 100 runs, that could be the difference between winning and losing the game.
So we wait and see. Leach is in again, and that's pushed out towards extra cover. After all, it is a game for which 5 days has been set aside. It's not a game that has to finish in 5 days. It can finish before that. That's the time allotted. We need to remember that. You're listening to commentary of the 4th Test between India and England on TalkSport 2 with the Times and the Sunday Times, led by their team of excellent writers, Lizzie Ammon and the former England captains Mike Atherton and Alistair Cook. 2 overs to go.
Manners, can I just
Yes, you
just
can.
go back to the Lara game? I've got the stats here, Bats, if you'd like them. Hogarth, Lara versus Hogarth, 50 runs from 37 balls.
I think you ought to clarify which Lara game. There's been a few over the years.
The 400.
Right, okay. Just checking.
Harmison, 38 and 101 balls. Flintoff, 36 and 111. Jones, 83 and 87. Batty, 130 and 161 balls. Vaughan and Trescothick also bowled a little bit there. So your overall figures were 2 for 185. So you went for 55 off the other batsman and 130 off Brian Lara.
Well, that can happen to anyone. Brian Lara batting. Once he gets in,
at that ground especially,
he ain't getting out. And the worst thing about it, being a spinner, I'm not a spinner, but the worst thing about being a spinner, when you play on a flat pitch, the captain always says, the spinners will get through the overs because they want to bowl them as quick as they possibly can. And the spinners end up bowling overs, really, when the conditions don't suit them.
Right, first look at Don Bess back into the England Test team, and the first delivery is driven sweetly. Nice use of the feet by Cheteshwar Pujara, but Bess has cover, and Jimmy Anderson at long on used his feet there immediately to Cheteshwar Pujara, but that he is a hopper and a skipper at the crease. Pujara against the spinners.
Surprised they've given him cover straight away, and it was a no ball. Not ideal start. It's a late call though, that one, eh? I'm surprised with a few overs left today. They would have thought, I won't mind him coming down and try and hit me over mid-on. It's a huge one as well, isn't it? Huge no ball.
Well, when it as a matter of inches, but
It's huge.
that's big. I mean, you should stay behind the line, especially when you don't have much of a run up. Here is Don Bess to the crease once again. That's a long hop. It's short and it's pulled away out towards deep backward square leg. He's got away with that. Zach Crawley will keep him down to 1, but that wasn't a terrific delivery. I'm still remain fascinated by the fact that Don Bess was left out of the team, having taken 17 wickets at 22. Those numbers are startling, to be honest. And yet the call was made. People would say it was either a brave call or otherwise, that he actually wasn't bowling as well, or wasn't bowling very well, and wasn't bowling nearly as well as those figures would suggest. That one is pushed out a short leg, and almost had Ollie Pope in business. But that's an example of why he's taken 17 wickets, because he does bowl bad balls, but he bowls wicket-taking balls.
Yeah, and I think we've got to change our mindset of we need people that can attack and defend and hold the game and so on and so forth, but we also need people that are going to take wickets and strike bowlers. We do that with fast bowlers, why not with spinners?
Like it. That's sharply turning from Bess, but not particularly quickly into the batsman. He pushes it into the offside, off the back foot, and takes a single.
Yeah, I agree. I think both our spinners bowl wicket-taking deliveries, don't they? I think that's quite obvious with Winters, both of them. They've taken wickets, but it's creating the pressure, isn't it? And I think that's what India do so well with their spin bowlers. They don't bowl bad balls, or hardly ever bowl bad balls.
Here is off-spinner Don Bess, and he's given that one a little bit more air, and it turns and bounces, and there's a yelp of excitement from Ben Foakes.
It's the overall package, isn't it? And we always judge on the best of the best when they finish their career and forget how they got to the sort of point where they were seen as wonderful bowlers, and he's just going through those stages, is Don Bess. the good thing is he's taking wickets.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another very short one down the leg side. So we've had a little bit of everything here. It's left alone, just ignored almost disdainfully by Rohit Sharma. Is just not interested in that one. But we've had a couple over pitch, couple very short, and one that was a real fizzer that ripped past the inside edge and hit the thigh pad. Bess in once again and bowls another good delivery. Once more, bit of turn and bounce, and Rohit has struck on the pad, beats the inside edge. As I said, yeah, a bit of everything there from Dom Bess, but at least he's not predictable. India 22 for 1.
And there's a huge variation in pace. It would be interesting to know, Bats, if you think that's intentional or is it just trying to find his rhythm at this moment in time?
No, I think it's natural variation, which suggests what you sort of alluded to there, that it's a searching for rhythm, it's a searching for process, call it whatever you want. He's searching for an outcome, to be a bit more consistent in everything he's doing, and the only way to get through that is just to bowl and bowl and bowl, unfortunately. But half of it is that sort of top 2 inches. It's a difficult, and you know yourself, it's a difficult game, because when ball's in hand, it's just you against that batter, the other 10 guys you need. Once you've released it, yes, to save the runs and take the catches, but the first bit of it is all you, and that's the beauty of the game that we play. It's quite an individual game within a team game, and that's the struggle quite often in the top 2 inches.
Jack Leach to bowl what we think is the last over of the day, and forward comes Pujara on down the wicket, nudging it up towards mid-on. By all accounts, Dom Bess has bowled hundreds of overs in the nets, and he's been practicing ferociously. But unlike the marathoner who needs runs at just miles in the legs, it's different, isn't it? I mean, rhythm in the nets and bowling hundreds of overs for hours and hours in in 6 days that England have had between Test matches, between the last 2 Test matches, is not the same, I imagine.
But you're picking players these days, and the way we go about it, by the performance in the nets, because there's no real warm-up games, is there, before you go into it? So you're picking players now, whether you're pre-selecting the team for the pitches they're playing on, which it looks like they've tried to do for this tour before they got there, or you're picking players on the performances in the nets, because there's no practice games. No practice games to pick them on. It's purely on performances.
That's a good point. That it's hard, isn't it? You're picking on
it's impossible.
Net form.
There's certain players I play with over the years who were terrible in the nets, and I've also bowled at guys who are brilliant in the nets, and I thought, oh, I'm $1 million player. Then they get out in the middle and they can't get a run.
Yeah, it's the scrutiny, isn't it? Once you get out in the field and it's game time, the scrutiny of it all then builds up in the head, and all these other things that fall into it. When it's practice, you can almost, it's just you and your coach and maybe the batter or something, isn't it? There's not as much distraction surrounding everything that's going on when you're out there in the middle playing
a
a game.
very lengthy hold up in play. Sorry, Bats, I just need to explain that Jack Leach bowled 1 delivery, and the hold up is because Joe Root has called for an extra helmet, and I can't see who is wearing the bib and behind those big sunglasses.
Rory Burns.
And he's brought the extra helmet out because Joe Root wants to put himself, I think, into another close catching position. You all know what it's like, the pandemonium in the change room. Where's Rooty's coffin? Where's his helmet? Where's his helmet?
Well, he's going in there as well, isn't he? But I did that fielding position once, and I'll never do it again. Boot ill. I did it to your brother, Gaz. To Jeremy against Sri Lanka touring team.
Can't believe that you agreed to do that. That's pushed away defensively out on the offside, and there's no run.
Well, I was a young kid, and I wasn't playing that game, so I went on. I didn't have a choice. I basically got told I was at short leg. I'd never ever done it in my life. Ridiculous. I didn't even have an helmet on.
Oh no. Box?
To Jeremy Batty, no helmet. Fielding at short leg. Not ideal.
India 22 for 1 into the 12th over of their reply to England's 205. Slip, silly point, short leg, and it's a little bit of width outside the off stump. Not a lot, just enough for Pujara to push it away past Zach Crawley at cover. He trots after it, and they'll go through for 2 more. Pujara moves on to 15.
One of my best stories is about your brother. We're sent in against Somerset Night Watchman with 1 over to go, and he got out hooking. 2 overs to go, got out hooking. Oh no, I'll never forget. First ball.
First ball. Leach in once more. Pushed away towards backward point, fielded at second slip.
That's not an exaggeration. He come in as night watchman, he sent him in, whatever you do, just get through the night. First ball, Kevin Shine, bouncer, hooked in, gone. First ball, batsman that go out. First
Did anyone bother trying to keep a straight face when he walked back into the change room, or were you all just falling over laughing? Here's Leach once again, and pushed once more defensively by Pujara.
I've got another one on his brother as well. He used to wear contacts, and he took them out, and he was rooming with Ian Houseman, and Ian Houseman woke up in the middle of the night because he'd had a couple of beers, and he drank his Jeremy's drink. We got his contact lenses in.
Here's Leach again, and polite inquiry from Ben Folkes, and that concludes the entertainment for the day. India have dominated today. They've bowled England out for 205, and India in reply 24 for 1, having lost Shubman Gill LBW to Jimmy Anderson. Second ball of the innings for a duck, and well, it was the perfect start as far as England were concerned, in reply to a very moderate total of their own, but so far no further success, with Rohit Sharma and Cheteshwar Pujara making it through to the close of play.